Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome. We are live on this Saturday morning. It is the last Saturday in June. And what a delightful month it has been, hasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Here in and out of the Daverhood with me, Dave Lefkowitz, doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream, as we have been doing since 2002. We have done 751 prior episodes of this show. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, this one is 752. I know, I did the math. And the great thing is, well, we've got our usual segments. We always have an eclectic mix of the stuff that we try and do on the program. We'll do our Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment based on stories that happen in the newspaper where Joyce and I were living for a bunch of years out in Colorado. That's a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, I need to get my folder. I forgot about that. And we will also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Let me do that again. Our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, wherein every week I make a horrible limerick about some town, country, and there are a lot of countries in Colorado, some town, city, or municipality in Colorado. It's just 5 lines long, so deal with it. We'll also have our Inside Broadway segment, where we'll talk about Broadway, and there was some Broadway news this week. Yeah, that's an audience. Now, Broadway probably won't have an actual physical audience until early 2020. Who joined?
Warhol and Elizabeth.
Oh, Warhol! Hey!
F.
Elizabeth and Warhol, so good to see you. And who?
Elizabeth F. I can't say her name.
Okay, well, welcome to Elizabeth and to all the folks tuning in. What was I saying? Oh, about Inside Broadway. So, yeah, you're not going to see people physically in the theater for a while, but they are...
Aesop and Hector.
Who?
Aesop and Hector.
Aesop and... wow. Are you sure Aesop isn't just a fable?
And Lisa and in English.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you what these names are in a moment, folks, because I love calling folks out. I love calling you out of your names. There's Hector and Lisa and Vincius.
Thank you.
Vincius. I feel like Taurus might have been. Let me get my folder that I need.
I'll get it. Where is it?
Well, no, I've got to play the intro music anyway. You know what we do. Every time we always start the show with a little something that we call our intro music. It goes like this.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the neighborhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
We got David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island Hearts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
So as I said, here goes, there it goes, we all goes, the Daverhood, live on this Saturday morning, June 27th, 2020. And yeah, we have our Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, Inside Broadway, our Today, Yesterday segments.
Laura joined.
Who did?
Laura.
Welcome, Laura. Ian, yeah. Anybody else?
Laura Ann.
Laura Ann or Laura and Ann?
Laura Ann.
Laura
Persona
Ann.
de una persona.
And
Nathan.
What, Ethan?
Nathan.
Nathan. Hello, Nathan. You know, the problem is Joyce is over there and my deaf ear is this way. So it's a little...
Because, Nancy, too.
Hello, Nancy, too.
She shares the last name with and Matthew. She shares a famous name, and Grace. She shares a famous name with a mystery writer who I like.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome.
It's from The Pearl is in the River in Chinatown movie.
What? The Pearls in what, Chinatown?
Robert joined.
Hello, Robert. And again, we try and call out folks because we think of you as...
No, it's not calling out people. Calling out is like I call you out. It's like we recognize.
We recognize. We and that's important for this particular episode of the show because we have a brand new, thrilling, exciting, wondrous segment
oh, God.
on Dave's Gone By that we're going to So, because we want to try new things, we want to mix it up, especially in this time when it's been a little tough for us to get guests. I don't know why it's been tough for us to get guests.
People are getting, not happy in COVID. It's depressing.
So they go on TV, radio, or whatever the heck you call this, podcastio, and you come out of yourselves for half an hour instead of moping. But now it's like, oh, they're too busy. Oh, they're too busy lying on the couch staring at the fridge, wondering when they're going to get to eat next. It's like, no, they can't be on it. Well, okay, we can still do this program, and we can do a fun show. But as we've all seen, the world's been going nuts. Whatever side of the boundary that you're on, the world's been a bit crazy and depressing and upsetting for the past few weeks, for sure. And one of the things now that we've moved, thank goodness, beyond the initial rioting, and at least the East Coast has moved beyond the first wave, seemingly, of coronavirus, we need something else to panic about. We need something else to be really het up and driven about and upset about. Yeah.
I thought it said Johnny Cash, but it's another Cash.
Another Cash. Welcome, Cash. So what's been happening day after day in response to all the stuff that's been going on, the BLM and the defund the police and everything, is this idea suddenly of white America, or at least the cultural left-wing part of white America, waking up and saying, oh my God, we've done all these terrible, horrible things. We've written these books and stories and plays and musicals and artworks that glorify on some level the oppression of everyone else, which is kind of true, by the hegemonic white Anglo-Saxon Protestant Catholic, somewhat Jewish major folks who live here. And finally, I'm buying in. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, it's taken me a long, long while. Because if you watch this program, I say what's on my mind. It isn't always it isn't ever politically correct, ladies and gentlemen, but now I'm woke. I haven't been getting any good sleep this whole damned week, but finally I am actually woke.
I don't think you're woke.
I'm not. Well, I'm going to prove, just like all these celebrities are right now. All these folks who are saying, oh, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, I did this. Tina Fey is pulling episodes of 30 Rock from wherever they're streaming because they featured a character in blackface a time or two.
She should pull. It's really offensive.
It depends on how you're using it. It depends on the commentary. It depends what you're trying to say and the humor that you're trying to get across doing it. Sometimes it's wrong, just undeniably wrong. Sometimes it's wrong in a culture that wouldn't realize it was wrong. We have one of our good friends in the Daverhood is Brian Gary, who was the grandson of Eddie Cantor. Apparently, by all stretches, a very nice gentleman, very talented gentleman, and one of the most popular entertainers of the 1920s through the 40s. Well, he would get up on stage in blackface. Yeah, watch it now. It's a bit.
It explains a lot.
It's embarrassing, right? But we lived with it. We grew up with it. It wasn't. Unfortunately, it was not embarrassing when he was doing it, or at least the culture around him didn't find it embarrassing. Whether they felt that way in communities of color is another story. Yeah. Look. So anyway, what's been happening with people like the interesting thing about Tina Fey is that she canceled herself. She took it upon herself to say, "Ooh, I probably wrote some scripts that were insensitive to the culture of the time. Therefore, 10, 15 years later, now that I'm a millionaires, I can say, let's pull these." And this has been happening for a period of time. Warner Brothers doesn't show the cartoons, the old Bugs Bunny cartoons that were made in like 1940 to 1945 when America was at war with Japan, and they would have these unbelievable Japanese caricatures, these characters that they would show, terribly racist stereotypes. And we don't, Warner Brothers said, we don't really want children or anybody seeing these anymore. Walt Disney Pictures hasn't released Song of the South for 30 years now. I saw it in the movie theaters when I was a kid, and there was Uncle Remus, and he looked like a nice fatherly, uncly kind of guy. It didn't occur to my little brain back in the day that that character as avuncular, avuncle Remus, I guess you could call him, as sweet as he was and as creative and storytelling as he was, would be not so nice to the black community. Or if it was, you just kind of say, well, you know, deal with it. Because you see other characters made fun of all the time. You see Irish cops made fun of, and you see Jewish people being mocked a little bit, or mocked by themselves very often. So deal with it. It's Uncle Remus. He's cute. What are you getting offended about? So I'm not making fun of Uncle Remus. I'm not lynching him. We're not making him look like a figure to be mocked. But at the same time, it takes 40, 50 years for a very slow-moving cultural community to look back and go, probably should not be promoting that. Probably should not be putting that out there in the ozone. And so the talk the last 2 weeks, of course, was also about Gone with the Wind of HBO. HBO has a subsidiary channel called HBO Max, because one channel showing the same movie and TV series over and over again 10 times a day is not enough. They have the rights to Gone with the Wind, and they say, well, we can't just show Gone with the Wind anymore. There's stuff in it that is just kind of offensive to modern sensibilities, certainly black sensibilities, but anybody's. If you have a heart and a brain and you look back and you look from this cultural context that we're in now, and you go, ooh. And I have to say, if you watch this show, you know that I tend to be center left. I am very not left wing, and sometimes I surprise people on how far right I go, just almost in reaction to how much sometimes the hard left discourages me and makes me, just go in awe and angry wonder. But yeah, I'm center left. I try to be, which may not be as interesting as the politically far right guys on the radio, or for some people the far left people on MSNBC and CNN. So I'm trending this way, and I'm by the way, my hands are moving to my left, but as I'm watching them on this mirror image reversed screen, they're moving to the right. So that makes it even more confusing. Isn't that wonderful, folks? But here's the deal. So they want to. First, they were thinking of pulling Gone with the Wind altogether, and then they said, okay, let's show it, but let's put it in cultural context, which I think is an absolutely great compromise. It's like, let's show this movie. It's a huge picture. I think it won the Oscar. It's gorgeous to look at. It's epic storytelling. It's Hollywood, ultra Hollywood of the day. Yeah. However, it's got some problematic stuff. Let's talk about the problematic stuff. We'll talk about it before. We'll have some kind of crawl beforehand. And then afterwards, we'll have people talk about it. Yeah, why not? I mean, I used to watch on public television. My first dose of real foreign culture was watching classic 1950s foreign movies like Bergman and Kurosawa and Ozu. I don't know if they showed any Ozu, but people like that. They would show these movies on Channel 13. And then at the end of the movie, they would have cinema experts. Can you imagine television like that? They don't even do that now when they have 800 zillion TV channels. They don't do this. Closest you get is TCM giving a little bit of information about a movie before and after they show it, which is very, very cool. But when I was growing up, they would take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes after they would show Wild Strawberries, or they would show Rashomon, right? Or they would show Kinogasa. These people, these important film directors, De Sica and Fellini. And then they have these real smart, learned, researched, but very listenable film critics go on and say why the movie was important, what was great about the movie, what was a little iffy about the movie, some interesting tidbits about it. Why not do that with all movies? And certainly why not do that with Gone with the Wind? I'm all completely for that. But the cancel culture, until today, has really stuck in my craw. I didn't like it, and maybe I talked about this on the show another time. But I didn't like it. When I was going to New York University, I was a film student, film production student. Wanted to be a movie maker. Didn't happen. Okay. And we part of the great thing about going to school back then and going for a film degree was that half your classes you just sat there and watched movies. I mean, you talked about and you analyzed movies and wrote essays about them. Yeah, when you weren't out there with these Super 8 cameras that were dropped out of World War II planes called filmos, and then we made our. Sorry about scratching my head there. That's kind of visually interesting. But so we would have to watch. And we got to watch movies. This is before VCRs. They had like Betamax decks and things, but this was before you could just go and see any movie you wanted to by Google, typing something, clicking, and either you pay for it, it's free, and there's every movie ever made. You never have to leave your closet again, right? Back then, they had to get these things on 16 mil canisters and change the reels and they did it. And you would go and either in class, you would see movies that you were studying, everything from Alfred Hitchcock's Marnie. I don't know why they chose that one, but they chose that one, to films by John Ford, to movies by Kurosawa and foreign directors and experimental director Maya Deren, whatever. They were trying to fill us up with the joy and the beauty of movies. And part of that was because time was so limited, and you're taking 90, 145, 120 minutes out of a class time to watch a movie. Oh, thank you ever so much. Just a coffee would be lovely.
Very hot.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hot! Hot coffee! Thank you.
No.
What am I doing?
Do you want tea? Do you want to tell me what you want?
Look at that! I've got my stewardess here, bringing my goodies. I guess I can put it all here, and then look at this. Yes. Oh my goodness. Coffee, tea, or her? I'll take her. Hello.
Would you like a salsa here?
And it's early, but it's egg cream making time.
Or if you want vanilla soda, there's vanilla soda there too.
No, this is fantastic. This is beautiful. I may have a little bit of both. And now the official seltzering begins. Here it goes. Hear that fizz. And by the way, you want to talk about Jewish stereotypes? What could be more stereotypical than making egg cream? Oh, the joy. Oh, the gorgeousness. Look at it. Look, it's not really making a head, but I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. You know how to make this, right? Use milk and chocolate syrup and seltzer, but it's the proportioning. That's what it's about, getting the proportions right. Which I guess is how God made Eve as well. Anywho, here we go. We stir this up, and if you're a real Jew, you use a knife, right? Oh, that's so good. I need to change my shorts. All right, here we go. So, was talking about going to NYU and having what they would call a Saturday Cinematheque. So it was for everybody in school could go, but it was really for us film geeks who were seeing some movies in class and some movies in like lab, but they would make Saturdays available. It was wonderful, where you could come into the nice theater they had at the school and watch movies, right? All day, from Saturday, like 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. They show 3 or 4 important classic movies or movies by major directors. Dusan Makaveyev, there was one expert, one of my professors was an expert in Brazilian cinema. So they would show Macunaíma. And they would also show silent films, man. They would show Keaton and Chaplin and Lloyd. And they wanted to show, at one point, they were going to show Birth of a Nation. Not the Black Birth of a Nation that was done like 2 or 3 years ago, but the original D.W. Griffith epic film, which was a tremendously important film in film history if you are a film student, right? If you care about movies, you need to know about Death of a Salesman, because it was Griffith and his people who pioneered some of the grammar, some of the basic language of cinema, the tracking shot, the cutting, the cross-cutting, the irising in and out. I mean, he didn't do all that. George Méliès was doing other stuff, and there were other directors, but Griffith was tremendously major in that way. And this was the biggest film Hollywood had ever seen. It was like 2.5 hours long, God help us. And it was big storytelling and big epic sets, and it was this huge thing and an enormous hit of the time and changed the culture of filmmaking in Hollywood. It wasn't just this little thing for kinescopes and watching, a train is pulling into the station, wow, or the Keystone Cops. This was saying filmmaking can be great commercial blockbusters and art at the same time. Mind-blowing, right? It was a cultural watershed in its day, the way Hamilton is now. Okay. Unfortunately, Birth of a Nation was also a very racist piece of storytelling. It was based on a book called The Klansman. Well, I can tell you something, that the two most important historical films in all of American cinema, one of them is based on glorification of the Ku Klux Klan, and the other, the one that ushered in essentially the sound era of filmmaking, was The Jazz Singer, and that had a Jew in blackface, assimilating into American culture. Doesn't that tell you everything about, about America in some way? But they wanted to show Birth of a Nation, and okay, fine, because we watched in class segments of the film that followed Birth of a Nation for D.W. Griffith. He was now world famous. He now was incredibly respected and was just given, the world was his oyster to make movies. So he made something even bigger, a spectacle even wider and crazier and larger than Birth of a Nation. So he created Intolerance, which took place in ancient Babylon and also modern times, and cross-cut between the two of them. Huge, huge spectacle, huge flop at the time. And in no way, by the way, as far as I recall, with any of the kind of iffy, offensive content that Birth of a Nation has through modern eyes. So they wanted us to be able to see Birth of a Nation. And suddenly, there was this very small group of black students who said, no, do not show this movie. Don't show this movie. The movie, even back in 1979-80, was already, 50 years old? Nobody was going to watch that movie to sit there and have a good time the way, the Blues Brothers is in the local theaters right now, or Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's like, we're watching this as film historians, and if the movie happens to be exciting in certain points or it carries us along in certain ways, that's great. It makes it much more watchable. But we're seeing this for a whole different generation, whole different lens, whole different perspective, and it's a university. We're kind of smart enough to know that in the third reel or the final third of the film, when the Ku Klux Klan rides into Reconstructionist South to save the day from these lazy, shiftless you-know-whats that are ruining the South after the war, and that they ride in on their horses with their white hoods, we kind of knew that's not a good thing. We're not here cheering them on, even if the movie makes the viewer, or the 1920s viewer, want to cheer them on. And the black students, what I resented and objected to was just they're wanting to censor the movie. And that is a word, if you throw that word at me, whether I was 10 years old or 30 years old or 56 years old, as I am now, you throw that word censorship in front of me, and not only does the red flag go up, but the red curtain draws in front of my eyes, and I'm like, no. You have to be shouting fire in a crowded theater. You have to be doing or saying something that is so unbelievably insightful to riot or offense for me to say, no. Otherwise, the whole point is we live in a place of free speech. And I've actually gotten better about this. I mean, I would read, in my 20s and 30s and 40s, I would read things about the Palestinians and Israel and the Arabs and defending Arab terrorism on some level and the Intifada. And I would just go purple and wonder, how dare they print this and how dare these people, I wanted to go to these folks who wrote these editorials with a hatchet and just, because that's the way I'm made. I've got that rage in me. But nowadays, I sort of stand with the ACLU. And I'm like, look, they're writing their opinion. And their opinion is diametrically opposed to yours. That's fine, right? You're in the society where you can have a diametrically opposed opinion. And as long as it's not a threat of physical violence or something like that, let them have their say. And then you can have your say. And you can call them complete and utter idiots and use whatever language that you want and prove your side of the case. That is true free speech. That is, you say your stupid idiocy, I say my stupid idiocy, and somewhere in the middle there's some truth. That is the true nature of conversation. That is the true nature of debate. Right? You're all the way over there, and you have to be all the way over there because you're not interesting to listen to unless you are, okay? Like Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly. And you got to be all the way over there, Rachel Maddow. You have to be all the way over on that side, spouting about conspiracies and that kind of nonsense, and this side, blah, 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 and that side, blah, blah, blah. And somewhere in the nebulous middle, you pick and choose what actually makes some kind of logical sense for that moment. Fair enough. So to ban Birth of a Nation, the original version, no! If they wanted to come up before the movie and give a speech and say what you are about to watch was created in I'm sorry, I don't remember the year, 1920, let's say it was, might have been earlier, and the depiction of so-and-so and such was this, and it was based on a book called The Klansman. You know, D.W. Griffith was a Southerner, and on some level believed in the gentility and grace of the Old South. Yeah. Fine, make your speech or have your debates afterward. Get a historian after the movie and a cinema expert and the professor and maybe one of the students and sit them down for 20 minutes after the movie and have them go at it. Fantastic. But you don't ban it. You don't say, don't show that movie. It's offensive, right? No. You take that historical thing in context and so forth. And HBO was right to do that with Gone with the Wind this past week or so. You take what is in context, give it the proper modern context, the lens that we see everything through, and there you are. Because the lens you see a movie through this week is not going to be the same lens you see through 5 years from now, and it won't be the lens that you watched again 25 years ago. If you watch a romantic love story movie in your 20s and you've just been jilted, the lens that you're watching it through personally is not going to be the lens that you see that same movie, Umbrellas of Cherbourg, let's say, that when you're in your 50s and you've been married for 20 years, you watch it again, right? And very different. Right? Same film. It's all there. Right? And that's not a choice of an offensive film. That's just an example of how we've got blinkers on that we don't even know about contextually. And that's why it's helpful to do contextualizing of these things rather than outright canceling and banning them and saying, naughty, 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 should never have done that. And let's never watch those cartoons again. Let's never watch those episodes of 30 Rock again. I even bring this up because, and I talked about this last week, Joyce and I, I was going to say for no particular reason, but there was a great reason. There was a cartoon about potatoes. And, potatoes. So we wanted to watch it. And it was an old Max Fleischer cartoon it had sound. So I think it was the early 1940s, maybe late 1930s. But it was in color, which we didn't realize. And the whole thing it was all about vegetables. It was a whole cityscape, a whole urban landscape composed of all these different vegetables. And of the characters that were there, they had police. And the police were played by Irish potatoes. And they were these incredibly stereotypical, drinking, lazy Irish cop potatoes, who were, at a certain point in the film, incredibly cruel and brutal. They would take all these other vegetables and peel them and grind them and beat the hell out of them. And my point last week, the lens I had on last week, or 2 weeks ago when we talked about this, was the Black Lives Matter lens, and saying, oh my gosh, watch this film. And this is what they thought about police back in the 1930s. This is the reputation that they had, leaving aside, not even black people. This is the reputation that police, the Irish cop on the beat, had for cruelty and wanton brutality all those years ago. And we watch it now through this lens of post-George Floyd, and it's like, whoa, wow. Now imagine that cartoon wasn't available on YouTube, wasn't available anywhere to watch, because it showed Irish cops in a terrible, stereotypical way. And they said, well, we don't want to show this old Max Fleischer cartoon because it looked the way they treat the Irish. It shouldn't be shown. Kids might get the wrong idea about Irish people, and even worse, the wrong idea about potatoes, which is, God forbid. So let's pull this and let's not make this ever available. Nuh-uh. So you lose that opportunity to watch what that cartoon, to start thinking about what that cartoon played like when it was made, right? How that cartoon might have been viewed in the 1960s, how that cartoon was viewed 2 weeks ago, and now, since I'm talking about this idea of cancel culture, how it is viewed right this second. I'm saying I'm glad that cartoon wasn't canceled, so I was able to see it in this new context and watch it just at a point when everybody is thinking about, how to change the whole nature of policing and how we deal with police forces and make them, defunding police is nonsense, but changing the culture, changing the way that they operate is not. Right? So watching the way police have always been thought of for, I guess, 100 years now is instructive. It shows you that this is a systemic problem that goes even beyond race. It's the idea of power corrupting. It's the idea of putting on that uniform and being backed by a wall of blue gives you a certain authority. I got somebody messaging me here on my thing that says, Betsy. Hello, Betsy. Well said on reconceptualizing movies and shows that are now found to be questionable in terms of systemic racism. We can't learn to navigate obstacles if they are removed from our path. I wonder how this can be done. I have such intelligent viewers. This is scaring me now. The host never wants the viewers to be more intelligent than they are. You always want you don't want dummies. You don't want idiots below you. But you kind of want to be up here, and you always want to be a little bit ahead of the people who are watching you or listening to you on the radio. When suddenly you've got people who are like, I'm just as smart or a little bit smarter than you. It's very intimidating. But thank you, Betsy. Thank you for writing in. And you're right, man. It's about recontextualizing, reconceptualizing. I can't even believe I got that word out. But yes, and that is what I believe in. However, this is all preface. This is all preamble to the new segment that we're doing on Dave's Gone Live today. Because, there are things that should be rethought out. It astonishes me. And I've said this to everyone I know, and I've said this probably on here. It astonishes me that in 2020, you can go to the store and buy syrup with Aunt Jemima on it. Aunt Jemima. Right. Well, and Uncle Ben, somehow Uncle Ben doesn't strike me quite as, even though it's from the same cloth. But the name, and I know there was a Jemima Puddle Duck. The name Jemima itself isn't necessarily so terrible. But, and we know, people aren't really pointing this out, but about 20 years ago, I think, the company that makes it, I guess it was Quaker Oats or whoever the hell owns that maple syrup, they changed the look of her. So that Aunt Jemima did not look like the prototypical Queenie in Gone with the Wind.
It was a mammy stereotype.
Yeah, it was the mammy. She was the mammy giving you the syrups on the pancakes. So they changed her look, and they made her look like a jolly black person, still serving the white people their syrup, but a more contemporary, non-mammy-esque Aunt Jemima. And I think they probably did the same facially to Uncle Ben. One of the most amazing things I ever saw And I think this was when we were in Aruba, and we were trying to get some goods. We were in like a drugstore, a grocery store, maybe in the hotel commissary, if you will. You know, the hotels have these places where you can buy toothbrushes and condoms and all these things you're going to need for a week. And one of the things we had was toothpaste. And we found a long white tube of Darlie toothpaste. Darlie toothpaste. Ooh, cool. But the interesting thing was, you know, the name Darlie on it, and you can look this up, with a smiling black man with big white teeth. You know, Darlie toothpaste, get your teeth nice and white. And it occurred, I started checking around and looking, and turns out it wasn't always called Darlie toothpaste. It was Darkie toothpaste. I kid you not. And I imagine they changed the look of the black man on the tube to modernize it a bit, and they changed Darkie to Darlie. Do you remember Darlie toothpaste? Were you there when we found that?
No.
Joyce doesn't remember. But I was like, you know, then the eyes went wide. I worked with a guy when I was at Playbill. Yes, I worked, speaking of cultures that should be canceled, I worked with a fella who, he went on vacation, and I believe he went to Sweden. And there is a very popular character there. There's even a holiday there. Unfortunately, I'm not remembering all the details. I'm not remembering the specifics. This is something else we can all Google after the show's over. But there's a character and a whole culture there based on Schwarzapit, Black Pete. And it's this really racist caricature of a black person, and it's still going on. Schwarzapit, look it up. And again, we're not talking about, I mean, now we're talking about 20 years ago, but we're not talking about 50 or 80 or 100 years ago. So there are things like that where you just look at it. At some point, the Cleveland Indians symbol guy, he's going to go. I don't know when, but at some point, that redneck, red-faced, feather guy Indian for the Cleveland Indians, he's going to go. Okay? These are things that, yeah, it's time to change that. But at the same time, this whole cancel culture idea bugs me. This whole idea of, well, so-and-so is bad, therefore everything they do is negligible and bad and should not be promoted, and they shouldn't make money off it, all this thing. And you know, it goes back to conversations that the Israel Philharmonic had when I guess it was Leonard Bernstein, or maybe it was Zubin Mehta, wanted to do Wagner operas and Wagner overtures in Israel. And you don't get someone more anti-Semitic or someone more emblematic of what anti-Semitism could become than Richard Wagner. And he convinced them. He says, it's an overture. It's a musical overture. There's no Nazi symbolism in it. There's no anti-Semitism in the prelude to Lohengrin. It's just music, right? Do we no longer listen to... I mean, and again, there's a whole different balance of these things. Do we no longer listen to Bill Cosby at all, ever? His show that was so popular for millions and millions of people, useless. You can't show I Spy. You certainly can't play his comedy records, right? Or Louis C.K. for the things that he did and said, sometimes with permission, sometimes not. Does his action as a person negate the art? Something to think about. And it's also this idea of people not being able to talk the way they talk. There was a thing where, I was, this is both sides of the coin. When I was talking about Birth of a Nation, I checked, Gone with the Wind for the HBO thing. And I checked, and I don't remember whether it was Fox News or Breitbart, but I looked up what, not just the story, but what the readers of those websites were writing about them, the comments underneath. And I was very dismayed and upset by the folks who agreed with me about Gone with the Wind, that should not be canceled, that it should be shown, but the reasons that they were agreeing not to cancel Gone with the Wind, they sent a bit of a chill up my spine. And these were people who were saying, I grew up with this film, I see nothing wrong with it. Oh, and the Butterfly McQueen character, she's just a sweetie, she's so lovable, and she takes care of Scarlett, she's Scarlett's best friend. And it's a depiction of Southern life, and slavery doesn't enter into it. And it's like, it's not a plantation. Who the fuck do you think was running the place? Right? What do you think Butterfly McQueen or Queenie, that character, was? And they don't get it. That frightened me. Now, I understand this is right-wing, this is Breitbart, this is Fox.
Daniel James Forrester said, loving this.
Oh, thank you, James. Thank you so much.
Daniel James.
Oh, Daniel, also, thank you so much. But, it's great to be agreed with, but it's really scary to be agreed with for the wrong reasons. And these people were agreeing for the wrong reasons. They were like, they just didn't get it.
Politics makes strange bedfellows.
It does make strange bedfellows. And I was reading all these things, and I'm like, oh, come on. Surely, don't call me Shirley, surely these people have to understand that there are problematic elements of Gone with the Wind. It takes place on a plantation. And this character, they didn't. They just sort of a great epic sweeping love story, and blacks were peripheral, which I guess they are to white America, aren't they? So I see that on one side of the thing. But then there's another story that kind of disturbed me and that no one seems to agree with me on. So I put it towards you. 2 policemen. Sounds like the beginning of a joke, isn't it? 2 policemen were in a car this week, in their police car, having a conversation amongst themselves. And the conversation was about, the way cops talk, right? Full of profanity and full of racism. And they said terrible things about black people. And sometimes I just want to lynch all of them. One of the cops said this. We know the cops said this because now cars are equipped with these dash cams and audio things, and everything that you say or do when you step into that patrol car to the moment you go home is recorded. Now, understand, these were 2 men on the job day after day, 40 hours a week, facing, risk and death all that time, and the unknown, right? And dealing nonstop with the worst that society has to offer, the criminal element, and the mentally ill, and the drugs and the alcohol. I mean, just very rarely do cops get the the woman's having a baby, help her. They get that. That's that's a celebratory moment. Most of the time is domestic disturbance. Better be careful, we could get killed. Okay, so they're in this car having an ugly conversation amongst themselves,
but representing the police.
In representing that is absolutely true. They're representing the police, but they're not in a crowd.
It doesn't matter.
Now, why doesn't it matter? You don't agree with me on this either.
They're not just 2 good old boys hanging out. They're people that perceive a group of people a certain way and will kill.
If they do that,
Because
as the cop who Chauvin did,
what happens with prejudice and stereotyping in that when you have the ability to kill, you have lethal force, and you have racist ideas, that's a recipe for disaster.
Well, first of all, everybody technically has lethal force. If I go down to the kitchen, I pick up a knife, I have lethal force.
Do you have a gun in the right by society to kill?
I could go to Walmart and buy a gun. I don't have the right by society to kill.
Think of William Zanzinger.
Well, he just slayed people with a cane.
But because of his white privilege, he could do it and get away with it.
Yes, back in that context, and that's terrible. But again, if William Zanzinger amongst his family
he's not a representative of the state.
Yeah, true. But the thing is, the cops were by themselves in a car.
It doesn't matter.
See, it matters to me. It matters tremendously to me. It matters, like remember when we had our, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm distracted because there's a beautiful cardinal bird on the roof, right, just the edge of the roof, right out the window over here. I'm sorry, this is Dave's brain. It's like I'm thinking about something serious, like, oh, bird, hello.
ADHD.
But seriously, like, What did I just bring up? Darn you, bird. Well, what just threw me off my scent right there about, I'll go back to the condo. When we got married, our caterer had cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Like we have most wonderful food at our wedding 20-something years ago. This guy, Kenny, out on Long Island, he put out a delicious spread. And he was a very anal kind of guy. He was very, very, in terms of his staff, because, it's food preparation. Not only does it have to be really safe, but, you're feeding a lot of people at one time. It's got to be served just at the right time, served correctly to the right people. And it's food prep, on a big scale. So he has cameras everywhere. And when you go work for him, that from the minute you set foot in his kitchen and anywhere in the hall, you're going to be on camera and watched all day. People, I guess, are getting used to this idea in our culture that, there's cameras monitoring everywhere. At a stoplight, there's some kind of camera in the, above you in the stoplight, monitoring your activities in the car. So if you pick your nose, either it's the local police station or some Russian satellite is watching you, at the stop sign, getting the booger out. We try to put this out of our minds. We try not to think about it, but more and more places we go. We're in any store. I was assaulted once, about 15 years ago, on a subway platform. And I went to the folks, I went to the police station, I went to the MTA, and I said, well, can I have the footage of the platform? They said, well, we don't keep cameras there. And if I could have hired a lawyer and done all that stuff, I would have said, you've got to be full of shit. You do not tell me that on, 44th Street, the 44th Street E station, on 6th Avenue there, you don't have cameras for when trains are pulling in on the platform of one of the most important subway stops in New York. And by that extension, there's no cameras there, right? None at all. And no, we don't got it. No. No, there's cameras everywhere. So we're getting used to this idea of being seen by somebody or heard by somebody all the time. But I'm sorry, there's a difference between thought and speech and action. And if you have a thought that's your thought and you can think the most violent, horrible, disgusting thoughts in the world, they're yours. You can write them down, right? You enjoy them. You can torture underage animals, and I have, and it's fun. You can, whatever you want to dream about, right? And to some extent, if the person that you're with is simpatico and you're not going to offend them with something obscene or something that will just completely drive them around the bend, you can share that thought, that idea, with another person. Ideas don't kill until they do. So if those cops want to be horrible, miserable racists, that's terrible. And that's unfortunate. And the moment that crosses over into their behavior with other people, then you absolutely have to retrain them. Or if it crosses the line, you fire them, you suspend them, you re-educate them.
You have to understand, David, that attitude can be more of a dominant culture. If that's fed, it will kill.
But you can try and change a person's mind, but it's their mind. I mean, they're thinking of instituting criminal charges against. And the police were fired, but they're thinking of instituting criminal charges for them having a conversation, and not a conversation about, hey, we're gonna go rob a bank, which I guess goes to intent and so forth. They're not planning to do so. They weren't planning to go lynch black people, right? The guy was blowing off steam and saying something ugly and horrible and racist, as he probably does every other day. Comes home, beats his wife, and complains about black people that he has to deal with. Okay, the only thing that you get him for is beating his wife, right? That's the one part where he crosses the line. You got to put your foot down, legally and morally. But in terms of filing criminal charges against someone for just spouting off, having a talk with someone privately in an automobile.
Yeah, but it's not somebody. They're representatives of the state. It's like if a businessman talks about something, it's one thing. If the businessman is the president from that position, it's another. You don't understand the connection.
I understand it, but that businessman can't go and make a speech that is incendiary somewhere. But can that businessman then go have a few with another fellow businessman?
Yeah, but you don't understand. In the office of president, in the office of police, there's an attachment of power, and there's an attachment of they're not doing it as citizens. They're doing it in their role, wearing their stuff.
Okay.
Right.
So the minute, let's say 5 o'clock, whistle chimes or whatever, they punch out, and they go into their street clothes.
Yeah,
now they can say whatever they want to say.
No, but it's the pulpit. So if somebody wearing a uniform as an official says something, it's different.
Yes, but an official will be saying that to someone. You know.
When you wear the uniform, when you represent something, it's like a professor. I can't espouse my political views in the classroom.
But professors do all the time. I tried not to.
You're not supposed
in the first few years that I was teaching. And I didn't want my wife to get in trouble because she was going up for tenure. So, I'm, as I said, even though I take both sides of things and I sort of seem like right-wing, no, I am left of center. But I couldn't say to my students for the first couple of years, oh my God, Donald Trump is such a goddamn idiot. How do you even vote for this guy? I'd say, if I was using a political example, I either mock both parties or just toe the line.
That's balanced teaching. That's different.
Well,
I don't think you understand what you're talking about.
I don't understand what I'm talking about. That's my wife's thinking. Okay. Maybe I don't.
I don't think you're capable of getting outside your own head.
No, nobody's capable of getting outside their own heads.
Yes,
that's why we have heads.
And I think you can't see anything other than the eyes of your own privilege.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I am. But, I mean, if you have two black cops in a car talking to each other and saying, oh, my God, these white officers that we're dealing with, my God, sometimes I just want to, take a hammer to them. No, I mean, or is it because they are the oppressed class, the oppressed race, that they get to say that, and it's okay?
I think you need to do some research about what you're speaking about.
How do I do research? I'm not going to go talk to those cops.
No, it's called looking up and thinking and reading things that are written intellectually.
Oh, excuse me. I am being called out by the man. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your folks, for your folks chiming in. Am I making no sense at all?
It's the difference between an armchair critic or an informed.
I'm completely an armchair critic. I'm not delivering an academic dissertation. As a matter of fact, all I'm doing is setting up a goddamn comedy bit, which is going to be later on in the show. Our brand new segment. It's called Dave's Gone Canceling. So what I'm going to do, if not every week, then periodically, I am going to be canceling something or someone that has done something egregiously racist or anti-Semitic or anti-something that just cannot be tolerated.
The first person you have to cancel is yourself.
Oh, Tina Fey did that. I cancel I say things just to hear them said sometimes, or to talk about them and talk them through and talk them out. And you can paint me as an idiot, but I have thought a little bit about this. Well, last couple of hours while I was busy writing some stuff up. But I love how just because you disagree with me, I'm incredibly ill-informed and wrong.
No, I don't. I think that if you speak about topics and you don't really do thorough research, then you become part of the problem rather than part of the
Well, I'm totally part of the problem. I'm a middle-aged white Jew. I am, except for the Jew part, I am the problem. Well, if you're Mel Gibson, I'm completely the problem. There's no question that I'm in with my meager salary and my middle class life. I'm still part of the oppressive problem of this culture.
I think you're just a pot stirrer. That's my.
Oh, of course I'm a pot sticker.
You're a pot.
I'm a little dumpling.
You're wanting to just stir the pot and generate.
Yes,
noise.
that too. But it's also what I believe. And it bugs me if I can't, or anybody can't just have a conversation and can't say what they want to say. It's one thing, and I really feel this. It's one thing if you put something into action that hurts another person. It's quite another if you're just conversing or just writing or just thinking. It's that wonderful moment in Glengarry Glen Ross where the two guys are talking, the two salesmen are talking, and they're talking, but are they talking? They're thinking, they're just sort of supposing, they're just kind of, well, Jim, what would it be like if we came in at night and stole the leads? Right? They're sitting there in the desk, Murphy and McCann or whatever their names are. They got those precious names in the desk. And these two salesmen are like, nobody will be around. They got the good leads there. We got these crap leads. We can't sell anything. We're just coming. Well, we're just, we're just hypothetically. We're not really talking about. We're just talking. We're not talking. We're talking. And of course, by the end of that conversation, one of them has sort of been pulled into or pushed into being culpable if this thing actually goes into effect, if it actually gets done. They were just talking, but were they talking? Were they talking? That, when they make that leap, when the planning becomes action, that's where, to me, that's when you start firing. That's when you start threatening procedures. I'm not saying those cops shouldn't be talked to. I'm not saying that the sergeant shouldn't go to them and say, we overheard what you guys are talking about in the car. That's just inappropriate. Please don't. Please turn your heads around. Please get some therapy. Please get some counseling. Please get some training. And if you don't, we're going to have to kind of take other steps along the way. And I know it's a private conversation, but you got the uniform on. Let's nip this in the bud now, because that attitude, as my wife says, could cause some seriously bad policing down the road, and could affect the way you deal with these cultures. Okay, that I would be okay with. I would actually be very okay with it. But just to say, you talked, you're fired. No, I'm sorry, no. But that's why we're calling this episode "Cancel This" with an exclamation point. Cancel this. Yeah, because Dave's Gone By is not canceling. Not at all. We're instituting this new segment, Dave's Gone Canceling, and we're going to cancel a very famous, very talented woman. Woman that I have liked her work for decades now. Greatly respected and admired person in her field. Am I going to tell you what it is? You have to stay tuned. You're going to have to wait to see who we're going to cancel on Dave's Gone By today. Exciting, huh? Plus, we will also have our Today Yesterday quiz and a Wretched Pun of Destiny, our Inside Broadway segment, Greeley Crimes and Old Times, and our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. I don't think we'll have time for the dictionary either. But what else do we want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Corona? Do you want to talk about this idea that somehow America still has Corona? In New York, don't you, thank God, but don't we sort of feel like, what a rotten spring it was, what a lost time in our lives this was, but rear view mirror. Baseball's coming, right? They're talking about bringing Broadway back. We're feeling fine. Deaths are down to like 3 a day. Hospitalizations are way down. People, I guess, are still getting it, and more people got it than we ever knew, but they were asymptomatic, so who cares? We're fine. Meanwhile, Florida, Texas, Alabama is like, they're discovering it's not so gone. this thing, whatever the hell it is, and, again, in my uninformed, unresearched way, I said, well, this thing is moving like a swarm. It's like a swarm of bees. I don't understand
You're truly an agent of media.
I am. But this thing, it took the East Coast. It swarmed all over New York and New Jersey. And now for some reason, it's leaving us alone. And it decided, New York, New Jersey, we're sick of it. You got riots. It's annoying for a disease. Let's go to open spaces. Let's go to Texas. Let's go to Florida, which I really don't understand, because the hot weather was supposed to kill this thing. And where is it going to be hotter than Florida in June? And yet Florida is exploding with coronavirus. Granted a less virulent form. It's killing fewer people. It is making fewer people as sick, possibly because they're young. These are not, even though Florida is full of old people in nursing homes, but it's the incidences are hitting young people who are more likely to get lower versions of it and be less affected by it. But they're getting it. It's out there, right? I think Joyce wanted to mention earlier in the week that someone at the Trump supporter rally, that first rally that he held in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a place that was already blowing up when they went there, and then had all these people gathering. To their credit, the Trump's team was offering everybody masks. To their shame, half the audience didn't accept it, didn't want it, didn't feel they needed masks, so they're out there in the midst still of a pandemic, granted in open air, but still not distancing, not doing anything except rallying and shouting and applauding and getting their sputum all over everybody else, right? And including one guy who wore an adult diaper at the rally, and on the outside of his diaper he had "COVID my ass," responding to reports not just that oral anal transmission, no, but there was a story somewhere that you could actually get corona from someone's farts. If that is true, let's just say we're very, very lucky that I don't, as far as I know, have coronavirus, because otherwise, this whole town. I had Italian food yesterday. I had deli food a couple of days ago. Forget it. I could level entire continents if corona were catching that way. So if you get to, basically this whole show now is a way of pointing you to different things that you should go looking for on Google. So go look for the guy who wore the diaper saying "COVID my ass." But what's interesting is I told you last week, and by the way, it's just after 10 o'clock Eastern time here in the Daverhood. Pardon me. You're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, and all of you fine folks tuning in and watching and hopefully enjoying. But I mentioned that I've been back to work half-time. I go back full-time next week. But it's been fine. It's been okay. We've been swamped with work. We're dealing. And I was half joking last time, that the protocols that they put in place are, at least for us workers upstairs, I don't know about, in terms of what they're doing with the public, where they're picking up and dropping off and they're observing all these things. Fine, good, smart, careful. But upstairs, not a damn thing. Nothing. We're on our own. Please wear masks when you're in the hallway. That's about it. No, nobody cleaned. Nothing got done. Nothing changed. Bathrooms are the same. Handles and door things. Nothing at all. They're just hoping. Except that, as promised, this week we have to go in and have our temperatures taken. So this is absolutely true. When we get up to our room where like the 6 or 7 of us work, our boss, who is not a trained nurse, wasn't meant to be a trained nurse. This person is I don't even know if she's officially a librarian. I think she might be, right? So her job involves taking books, choosing books, getting them done, making sure they're correctly cataloged and so forth, and dealing with the public. No, No, now she's Nurse Nancy. Now she has to begin her day by going up to us with a mask on her, with a thermometer, and no, it's not a rectal. I pleaded, but no, it's just one of these. Doesn't even look like a damn thermometer. It looks like one of these more radar things that police hold when they see cars coming by. And she holds this thing up, and you stand. She doesn't get that close because she's not supposed to get that close. She gets about like here with a thermometer. My head's here, the thing's there, and for about 5 seconds, it takes your temperature. Well, the first day that I came, I've been working 2.5 weeks now, but this week was when they instituted this. And I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, I get in, she takes my temperature with this thing, and my temperature was 95.4. Yeah, 95.4. And they kept it. She didn't do it again. She didn't say, maybe I didn't do this right. Or maybe there might be something wrong with the machine. No, it's like, oh, you're 95.4. I'm like, if I was 95.4, I would be on the ground shivering. You would have to put me in a hot bath, because that's 3 degrees below any kind of normal temperature. And I know this because my dad, traditionally, when he has a fever, he runs low. When his fevers, he would go down to about 96, 97. Okay? And it's just his weird body. This is what would happen. So me, I'm relatively normal-ish. I will get a 98.6 reading when I'm normal, and I'll go up to 100, 101 when I'm sick. And suddenly, after all these years, no, Dave, you're a reptile. Your temperature, your body temperature, is 95.4. And we write this down. And then that form that I went through last time that I showed you, we have to circle, I have not been, my temperature is not over 100.4. No, it's not. I have not been next to anybody with COVID. Nope, haven't. I've not been anybody who suspects they have COVID. I guess not. Sign here, Leo Bloom, and sign your life away. So, and then this entire week, I have been testing at 97.2 to 97.4 degrees in my forehead, from my forehead. That has been my test in order to absolve the place I work from any legal ramifications of having me there if I have a fever and then might be transmitting some disease of any kind, especially COVID, right? And it makes me think, and everybody's, as our boss said, well, nobody here is normal. I could have told her that, but she's like, no one in this room is normal. I'm like, fuck no, your thermometer was made in China, probably Wuhan. And that's not a joke. The thermometer was literally made in China, okay? And the beauty part is, and of course the scary part, is that if one of us does come in with a temperature of 101, what that means is that the thermometer is going to read about 98.7. It's going to read the absolute perfect normal temperature that they should be, because the fucking thing runs 2 to 3 to 5 degrees below a normal human body temperature. So someone's going to come in one day with 101.5, and we won't know it, and then within a week we'll all be lying in a hospital in Central Park dying. Okay? This is COVID America for you. This is what we're actually really dealing with. Oh, and hon,
Yeah.
this is very, very important.
What's that?
I thought of this week, and I apologize, as I do for so many things on this program. I've already said some offensive things. I will say some more offensive things, but I apologize.
David, I've already filed for divorce lawyer.
There you go. There you go. She's already filed for divorce. But not before I tell you this. What did the frog say to the waiter?
I don't know. What did the frog say to the waiter?
Waiter, there's no fly in my soup.
No, it's what did the fly say to the waiter?
Yeah,
There's no me in my soup.
that's cute too. Hey, but what did the waiter say to the frog? You want flies for that?
Oh.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Dave's Gone By. I don't know why you're watching Dave's Gone By, but this is what we do every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts here on Facebook, our Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. Oh, Lisa just said hi. Hello, Lisa. She found the final break in my insane conversation here. So welcome, Lisa, and welcome to Betsy and everybody else watching all over the global Daverhood to our 752nd program. We're calling it Cancel This, because we have our brand new segment coming up called Dave's Gone Canceling, where we're going to cancel someone very, very famous from our culture. Greeley Crimes and Old Times, Wretched Pun of Destiny, our Today Yesterday quiz, and our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and possibly more. The one other thing I wanted to talk about before we get to Greeley Crimes and Old Times, oh my goodness, I had so many disturbing moments this week. I mean, there's nothing more disturbing to a homebody and kind of just an old-fashioned sort of stick in the mud, like, I just want things to work okay, like me. That's my life. I just, I'm like my mom in that fashion, like every middle-aged old Jew. Yeah, I'm just like, I just want things to be the way they were, working, I want to go to the supermarket, have them have the stuff I want. Don't want to. I pick up a remote control for the TV. The battery. Okay, fine. So yesterday we installed a new modem. A new router for our modem here where we're living, and as typical of my life, everything went great. We were able to install this new router in about 20 minutes, no problem. Except for one computer. Every other computer, all the printers, easy peasy, or, oh, no, it's not working, quick fix. Now it's working. Except one. And that one, an hour and a half, we're on the phone with an expert, no help, no use, and just the waste of time and energy and effort. Okay. But earlier in the week, even more upsetting, my beloved electric toothbrush, it's a battery-operated toothbrush, went to join the choir invisible. I put it in my mouth and hit the button, and nothing. It was, I'm sorry.
Wait.
It was a plain old brush. It wouldn't wiggle. It just lay there, dead. I'm sorry about folks. It's just been an upsetting week, but and I knew it was on the way out, because for the past 2 weeks, sometimes I push the button and I'm like, hey, what the hell's going on there? And I'm so stupid, as my wife will readily concur, that there were times I thought,
I don't think you're stupid. I just think you're very narrow-minded, and
yes.
You get stuck in a belief, and you don't listen. You're very fixed in a belief system, which is a sign of someone who is not an abstract thinker.
Oh, I'm totally not an abstract. I'm such a concrete thinker. My brain should be encased in cement. Yeah, there's mud in your eye. No, but this toothbrush, I thought, hey, it seems to work once I put it in my mouth. Does the toothbrush know when it's in my mouth?
Evidence of former.
No, because here's the thing. Like, I generally don't turn the toothbrush on before it goes in my mouth because it's got toothpaste on it, and I figure it's going to go all over the room. So I wait, and so I push, but sometimes I put it on just before it goes in the mouth, and it's starting to go. But more recently, I do that, it won't go on, but then I try to get in my mouth and go, ugh. So I thought, ooh, this is a sentient toothbrush. It knows that my tongue is near it, and it knows my teeth are near it. So, it's waiting until it hits my mouth to go on. Oh, smart, brilliant toothbrush, but no, it was just slowly dying. It's what happened. So we had a burial in the backyard.
Oh, really?
And we said, Kaddish, in a gleam sort of way. Or that was my aim. Get a little toothpaste joke. I'm just cresting here, if you know what I'm saying. But, ladies and gentlemen, I should have brought this up when I was talking about Darlie toothpaste. I went into the supermarket to look for another brush. Because I dig this electronic toothbrush. It's a lot less of a pain in the ass than doing the water picking. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not even electric. It's battery operated. What do you even call it? It's a bop toothbrush.
Yeah.
I like this bop toothbrush. So I'm looking and I'm like, there's one that's $7. But lazy son of a bitch that I am, I'm like, well, the one that's $7 doesn't come with a battery. The one that's $8 has the battery installed. No, 40-cent battery, paying extra buck for it. But that means I don't have to open it up and find another battery and worry whether it'll work or not, because we tried changing the battery in the old toothbrush and it was not happening. And then I find this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Spin Brush. It's like the Spin Brush 8000. This is not a commercial. This is not an advertisement. This is just me finding this in the store. I want you to listen to.
What's the logo? There's a logo.
Is that? Well, here it shows you how to change the batteries when you have to, and then there's what the hell is this? Oh, it's just the model number. In case you're interested, in case you're taking notes. Okay, there we go. No, this is not the logo. This is just the battery container. Listen to this thing. It's like having a lawnmower in your mouth. Check that out. Now, I brush once, sometimes twice a day. I try. I use dental floss because I'm old. I get stuff stuck in my teeth now. But, oh my God. Last 2 days I've had this. Oh, God. Not only does it make my teeth bleed, which I love, but if you put this on your back molar, your head shakes. It literally fogs your brain. So Joyce is wondering why I can't do abstract thinking, and I can't think beyond some very, very narrow terms. It's because this has befuddled my brain. I'm talking to you. I'm an entertainer. I'm a humorist. I write things. I think about things, albeit in a simplistic way. I put this in my mouth. I'm like Beavis and Butthead with this in my mouth. It's the most fantastic thing. So I recommend, not for teeth cleaning, not for dental hygiene or preventing disease from hitting your gums, but if you're worried about stuff, if COVID is just in your mind all the time and the terrible conditions of the world and rioting and unfairness and injustice, and you can't see your aged parents and you can't get on a plane and go on a vacation, you can't do anything except go to work and back, or take food out from the supermarket. You can't. We're still in pandemic times, and this is getting you down, and you're living with people who are driving you crazy, and all of this, and you're just like on edge and anxious all the time, and depressed. Do this for 3 minutes. Get a spin brush. Put this on your gum. Your head will absolutely clear. And just your medulla just starts like vibrating like this. And it's like, oh, everything is beautiful in its own way.
What was the Life of Brian song?
It's like, always look on the bright side of life. Always look on, even though things are bright and there's COVID and there's black people getting killed by police and I don't know what I'm going to do. I just go back to work. Try this. This will save you like thousands of dollars in therapy if you just try this spin brush. If they had this, if you ever saw the movie or read the book by Ken Kesey, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or watched the film with Jack Nicholson, directed by Milos Forman, because I was a film student, and this powerful movie, and they take Randall Patrick McMurphy in the last part of the film, and they give him a lobotomy. They wouldn't have needed to give McMurphy or any of these folks lobotomies. All they had to do was 2 or 3 times a day, just bring them into a room and say, strap them down if you need to, forget cutting open the head, forget any kind of surgery, and just be like, okay, Mr. McMurphy, open wide. And it's like, Mr. McMurphy, open wide. I'm ready for my pills now, Nurse Ratched. What a wonderful thing. Anyway, so just thought of that this morning. What a wonderful thing it is to do this Facebook podcast program of the stream here. I want to remind you that if you like the program or if you're just getting to know the program and you want to see what we've done, not just last week or the week before, but going all the way back to our first episode in 2002, remember that we've got a fabulous website called davesgoneby.com. DAVESGONEBY.com. So we have archived all of the episodes that we possibly can. The first 14 years were audio only, were radio show. They're there for free. You can stream them on the computer or download them as podcasts. They're there, right? And as well as all the interviews we've ever done on the show. davesgoneby.com. Plus, when we started doing these shows on video, I guess it would have been in 2018 or late 17 that we started, when we were at the University of Northern Colorado. Those are there too. All of it. Plus, we have our archives at archive.org on the Dave's Gone By channel there. So that's just the last, I think, 11 or 12 years. But still, we're loading as many as we can so that it's this wonderful website, this repository. Not a suppository, but a repository of 20th and 21st century audio and video and books and everything. It's a magnificent not-for-profit thing, archive.org. And Dave's Gone By has its own place there with hundreds of shows already. It's taking a long time, but we're trying to get all our archives up there too. Plus, if you are a podcasty kind of person and you don't need the video, and let's face it, who needs to look at this for 3.5 hours? Just go to castbox.fm. Castbox.fm, and there you will have the audio archives of all our shows. We don't have a separate interview archive at Castbox. We just have our complete episodes at this point going back to early 2008. So we're pushing backwards and we're getting there. And finally, you can also find a lot of our stuff on YouTube as well. Either way, or anyway, Dave's Gone By. It isn't just about this week. It's cumulative. There's stupid things I've said 12 years ago. You can go find them. There's ignorant things I said on the very, very first show that I'm still proud of. Go find them at davesgoneby.com. You can also contact me. davesgoneby@AOL.com is the way to do that. Or just send me a message right on this Facebook page, whether it's during the program, and I hope you will certainly do that. I hope you will play along in our Today, Yesterday quiz, because that's a whole lot of fun. Lisa took part last time, and sometimes my cousins Cynthia and Jeff play along, or my cousin Mark, or at one point Friendy was playing, play against each other when we do our Today, Yesterday quiz. It's all great fun on Dave's Gone By. Now, I'm going to ask my wife Joyce, are you kind of busy with something, or do we want to do Greeley Crimes, or... Oh, cool. So one of the segments that we like to do pretty much every week here in the Daverhood, I especially like to do it because I don't have to do a lot of work on it. I don't have to create anything. The work is done for me by, yes, the beloved Greeley Tribune newspaper, the official newspaper of where Joyce and I were living for about a decade, Greeley, Colorado, which has occasionally headlines like this. Never get tired of showing this. All the ways that they can kill you. Isn't that magnificent? Anyway, it's the Greeley Tribune. It's actually a legitimate, real local newspaper. Was sold again a couple of months ago. They're trying to keep the damn thing going. But anyway, what I am happy to report is they're still doing Cop Log. They are still having, once a week, in their papers, a column devoted to phone calls that come into the police dispatch of Greeley and Weld County, Colorado, from people who are like, oh my God, I just saw the most ridiculous thing, or we need police right now because this is happening. And a lot of the times the ones that they print are funny and ridiculous. And this is a good thing because I actually Googled this week Cop Log for just more in general for newspapers. And there's another paper in America, I forget where it is, that has a Cop Log. I'm like, oh, great, we can go elsewhere for funny thing. And it wasn't funny at all. It was so-and-so was arrested for drug possession, blah, blah, blah. So someone was driving drunk, someone was speeding, there was an assault charge. It's police blotter. Who cares? No. The special thing that they do in the Trib is they pick out the ones that are just like, what kind of world are we living in? We're living in a world that gives us Greeley crimes and old times. Not only is Joyce disgusted by my politics and my narrow thinking, but as you probably heard while I was playing the theme music, is I leaned over to blow my nose. And is this just a Jewish male thing? Don't you look? Don't you? I guess women don't. Women, they hold up a handkerchief or a tissue to they don't use handkerchiefs, tissues, and they go, and they crumple up the thing, they throw it away and they wash their hands. And it's like, they don't want to know. They don't care what's coming. There could be little baby squids floating out of their nostrils. They would never know because they just go squid squish. They don't look. But me, the curious type, I'm holding a tissue, a handkerchief. I'm like, what did I just do? What did I just create? What play did I just write with my sinuses? Let me see.
It's because you do with every bodily function, David.
Well, do you not look when you're on the toy?
I don't want to talk about it.
She doesn't want to talk. Well, of course, I want to talk about it. I love talking about this. But it astonishes me. When I'm doing what I do on the bowl, first of all, I'm gonna look down. I want to see, oh my God, did an organ fall out? Am I missing one of my ovaries? Did I suddenly slide into the toilet when I took a dump? If it didn't, if there's just poo there, I'm like, good day, right? I want to see, is it solid? Is it nice? What color is it? Is it full of blood? Or is it just a nice movement? And then I'm also going to look. I mean, how do you know when you're done wiping? How do you know? You hold up the tissue, you go, oh, hey, that looks like an elephant. And then until you're finished, and then you hold up a clean tissue, like, I'm done, thank you, flush, right? So I look, I want to see if I blow my nose, I would kind of like to know, is there infectious yellow goo in there, which will allow me to take off part of next week, because it's like, my temperature may be 92.1, but here's my handkerchief. This is what's coming out of my face, ladies and gentlemen. Do you really want me working next to you for the next 5 days? Anywho, where are we? Oh, we're doing really crimes of old times, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there's no, unfortunately, for a couple of months now, since the Greeley Tribune has been furloughing its part-time writers, they don't have the budget in the best of times, and this is not the best of times, but they do have the writer there. Is it Joe Moylan? No, Trevor Reed. Trevor Reed, who is doing at least the modern cop log. So we have some cop log things. Are you ready, my dear?
Yeah.
I'm ready with sound effects and everything. Here we go. Police responded to a report of a naked woman on the grocery side of a supermarket. All I can say is yes, but was she masked? Yes, yeah. It wasn't clear to me. Was she outside the supermarket in the grocery side, or was she like near
Why
the?
would a supermarket have multiple sides?
Yeah, and so isn't a supermarket? Isn't the whole thing groceries?
I don't know. Maybe she's in the fresh produce.
Well, it'd be appropriate if she were near the melons. I need. That's right. Thank you very much. Oh, police responded. There they are. The cavalry's charging in. Oh, it's so annoying. I'm listening. I know I go off on all these tangents, but I'm listening because I've got, this is what keeps me alive in my day job. I've actually been listening to Anna Karenina being read cover to cover. and the reader is fantastic. She's got this wonderful, soothing voice. She's a marvelous reader. And it's on YouTube. You can actually just listen to chapter by chapter, thing by thing. But she mispronounces calvary. Even though the book has a religious component, it's
We're in Canada.
yeah. Jesus doesn't say by the Karenina, but she's talking with cavalry. Or Kitty is dealing with cavalry officers. So every time she says it, like, and his cavalry uniform, it's like, no, he's not in a loincloth on a cross. He's wearing military epaulets because he has epilepsy, and it's kind of a shaky position he's in. Hon, you got to be banging those noises. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's beautiful.
Where's your favorite? Hold on.
How did I get to this? What does this have to do? What does it have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Why did I bring that up?
I don't
What's
know.
wrong with me?
I don't know.
I'm losing it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm losing it already.
Your mind,
Look at the veins in my forehead as I do this. All right, here we go. She was on the grocery side of a supermarket. Was she masked? You made a joke. And I think I bounced off that joke with cavalry, but I don't know why.
I'm not sure what I think you.
We're just having a cavalcade of fun,
I
ladies
think we
and
can
gentlemen.
get you in some kind of 12-step program. I'm not sure which one. Here, wait. Here I know.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Uh-oh. What is this?
Your remedy.
Well, this is no fair to bring this out without Ben. But they've got yeah. If there's time, we'll bring that out later. That's just too good.
Okay.
Police responded
Hold on.
to two women. Yeah, that's how they respond to black women. Police responded to two women playing loud music in the street. The caller wasn't sure how to describe them, only that they weren't in pants.
What does that mean?
It means that... Oh, no, sorry, no. Oh, what's wrong? I can't even read anymore. Only that they were in pants. So this caller saw two women.
Oh, maybe it was like a religious community where women don't wear pants.
No, that doesn't. These two women were wearing
so that's
pants.
How you see
Oh,
them.
so everybody else wasn't.
Wearing dresses.
They were all bottomless, except those two women.
Yeah, or maybe the other women were wearing dresses and these people were wearing pants.
It's yeah. Mm. And well, maybe those two women were there to take up the slacks. Comedy is what I do, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, lowest form of humor, the pun. An animal control officer.
Oh, wait.
Joyce is getting something. What are you getting?
I'm hungry. I feel...
Oh, she's just getting some snack thins. Here we go. An animal control officer.
Wait.
What? Oh, okay. Animal control. Get that cat going. Yeah. Ooh. An animal control officer responded to a report of an injured cat at the intersection of 11th Street and 13th Avenue. The officer, you're going to hate this one. The officer determined that the cat wasn't injured, it was, quote, just old. Was that officer uninformed about ageism?
How could, honestly, David, if veterinarians can't age animals, how could a police officer know that?
Well, you can kind of tell an old cat, can't you? No? Really?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of the brain is turning, but nothing's coming out with a cat pun.
I'm sure it is.
Well, maybe I'll think of one later, but I can't think of one meow. Okay, sorry about that. No, I'm not. Thank you. A caller on 13th Avenue, speaking of animals, wanted to know if roosters are allowed in city limits.
Whatever.
The caller was upset with the fact that she lives in Greeley in general and wanted to move. Joyce understands that one. She's like, she just can't rooster like she used to. A caller also wanted to know whether it was legal, this is a fair question, was it legal to drive a vehicle with a newborn if the airbags are deactivated?
I think you're not supposed to have a baby in the front.
Right, so
Because of
airbags
the
won't
airbag.
matter.
But I think you have to have a child seat.
If it's in, yeah, but I figure if you have a newborn, it's in the back seat anyway. There's no airbags there.
She wants to bring the kid in the front.
Oh, and then,
There's a windshield.
right. So if the kid is in a car seat, there ought to be an airbag, right? Or not?
So the kid
Or will it suffocate a kid?
No, the kid has to be in the back seat. I mean, I guess if you don't love your children, you could.
I wonder if like a child, an infant, right, in an accident, the airbag, that feels like a giant tit going in his face.
I think years ago, people used to put kids on their lap while driving, drinking, and smoking a cigarette, you know?
No, I used to do that, yeah. In fact, I was a child driving and smoking a cigarette and drinking. When I was drinking, the problem was when I was drinking behind the wheel when I was an infant, the milk wasn't properly warmed. So I'd be driving, I'd be concentrating, I'd go for a swig of milk from my bottle, and it was so cold that it would be like this toothbrush. It would suddenly fog my head. Like, yeah, it was. I'm really off the wall today. All right, here we go.
What's wrong with you? You're very strange.
Police. You're just learning this now. No thanks. Police responded to a report of 4 men. The 4 men were circling a fast food taco restaurant, is there any other kind, on 29th Street and digging in the dirt with their hands. Yes. Why do you think they were digging in the dirt with their hands outside the taco restaurant?
They were looking for some sauce or something.
No, there's a much more actual, explanation to it.
Looking for a wallet?
Very close.
Oh, looking for potatoes.
Very beautiful, but no.
Keys, probably keys. Yeah.
They were looking for their car keys, which, pedestrians just assumed that they were burying their diarrhea.
Oh.
No, I make that part up, of course. Now, see, that is Mexican racism right there. Joyce is right. I should cancel myself for making a diarrhea joke about a Mexican restaurant. But no! It's comedy. Get over it. Jeepers. Anywho, moving on. Oh my God, what is it with these animal control officers? An animal control officer responded to a caller who caught a baby turtle that ran towards the street. This is how a baby turtle runs across the street.
I mean, let's be real. It's a turtle.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And he's a champion. This guy's won races,
He's a speed racer.
The officer educated the caller on helping turtles cross the road and released it. What, pray tell, what is there to learn about helping a turtle cross the road? What can an officer teach? What can anybody teach? You're a professor with a doctoral degree. Is there anything you can teach me about how to help a turtle cross the street? Or that guy at the university who's trained in bats, who actually deals with animals? Is there anything that he could tell us about helping a turtle cross the street?
I have no idea.
Hey, by the way, get the noise ready.
Yeah.
Why did the turtle cross the road?
Why?
To get to the Shell station. Yeah, I wrote that. Yeah. Now here's the deal. And you sent me this story. Thank you so much for this. We're going to go elsewhere on our Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment for an odd story that isn't in Colorado, that isn't part of the Greeley Tribune or in Weld County. We're going to go all the way to Barcelona, to Spain, for this particular story. And this is lovely. I think this is actually wonderful. The Teatro del Liceu, it's Spanish. It'll be Teatre del Liceu Opera House in Barcelona held a concert this last Monday, the first day of coronavirus restrictions being lifted, featured for the Uccelli Quartet, playing for an audience of, do you remember this?
Oh, plants.
Potted plants, filling the venue's 2,292 seats. And it is a beautiful picture of it. You see an orchestra on stage, it's kind of distanced, and then it looks out into the auditorium, and the seats are just full of these green, lush potted plants. It's better than any audience I've ever been with. The concert, masterminded by conceptual artist Eugenio Ampudia, did not feature any human audience members, although, of course, it was live streamed. The plants were purchased from local nurseries, and they will be donated to healthcare workers.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's not even a funny story, but it's just such a wonderful, ridiculous idea. But it does, I mean, if I were a violinist or a violist or a cellist, and I'm just sitting there on stage, looking out at an array of empty seats, it would feel like a rehearsal. It would just kind of
make you feel better.
Yeah, there's something about that. Well, there's something out there.
And they're living.
Yeah. And didn't they do studies, I think they were debunked, that plants respond in different ways to different music? I don't know.
I think they like Eminem.
Well, the cocoa plant certainly does. The chocolate plants would love Eminem. But... You know where Eminem could grow plants? In space. On Mars. Oh, I slay me. I do. We got one more of our Greeley crimes and old times today. He's not. A caller at an apartment on 9th Avenue reported someone threw a fire extinguisher out a third-floor window. Why? I don't know why they included this amongst the weird news. Because let's face it, if you have a fire, right? If you've got a fire raging in your house or apartment, you don't want the fire extinguisher to burn up. So the first thing that you do is you save that fire. You get that fire extinguisher out the window, and you make sure that it's okay. And then you worry about putting out the fire. I think that makes complete sense. Yeah, don't you? Yeah. Anyway, it makes sense to this uneducated head, which belongs to Dave Lefkowitz, as we do our Dave's Gone By, Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream, and finish up this segment, Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi,
Oh, yes, it is June 27th, 2020, and you are watching the 752nd episode of Dave's Gone By. I have no idea why I keep smoothing down there's no hair. I'm smoothing scalp with fuzz. And yet it's like, because it's warm in here, it's a little humid, so the fuzz that's there is now really curly and tendril-like. If you put 2,000 of my heads in an auditorium, it would look kind of like a cactus plant. But so much more to do on this episode of Dave's Gone By. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We've got our Today, Yesterday quiz. We have our Wretched Pun of Destiny. And we have our Dave's Gone Canceling segment. Oh, and did I mention the quiz, the Today, Yesterday quiz? We got the Today, Yesterday quiz, too. All of this fun stuff to do. And our friends of the Daverhood as well. And we'll get to them. I do want to remind you about the marvelous services of Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, that is. So the Toron family has owned and operated Hewlett Minuteman Press, the franchise, since the mid-1970s. Carlene and her husband, I think his name was Miles, they took over the franchise. Miles passed away a couple of years ago. Carlene is still there, and her children run the franchise, and they do fabulous work. I was so glad to be dealing with them again this week, and because they helped me publish this magazine that I'm going to tell you about in a little bit, called Performing Arts Insider. We've been online only for the past 3 months. We've just been sending out PDF copies, but now things are somewhat getting back to normal, and I can't wait to see a hard copy again of Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. Well, Hewlett Minuteman Press is helping with that. And they are right in the heart of Broadway. They're opposite the Petco that is there, and they're near the Trader Joe's. They're on that other side of the street, and they do fine quality work. And it isn't just copying and printing and binding. I kind of wanted to get up the... they're having some kind of special. I wish I had... let me just see if I can find it real quick for you, so that I can do a proper commercial for Hewlett Minuteman, which has been with us since our very first episode of the program back in 2002, and I was using them, and they have been helpful to me in my endeavors for, years before that. Let me just let me see if I can do. Okay. See if I can. Oh, come on! Of course, I can do the password right. This is. Hold on, because I have. Let's try that again. I'm sorry. I'll read that again. Do I have it? Oh, we're getting to it. We're getting to it. We should anyway. Hold on. Everybody, talk amongst yourselves. Oh, I have an ad. There was a promo for Unit Minuteman that I purposely saved on my computer so that I could share it with all of you. Except maybe, of course, I didn't properly do it.
What is it for?
As I said, it's
Like a holiday ad?
Yeah, they're having some kind of big old. Well, you know what? Go to Unit Minuteman, and find it for yourselves. Unit Minuteman Press. Like as I was saying, they'll put your logo, your design to help your business on clothing, on pen and pencil sets, on flyers and banners and balloons. I can't believe I can't find this. I'm probably literally staring right at it.
Did you save it as a file?
Yeah, I saved it as a thing to me, but it would have been.
Then just search
Maybe I'm not
Minuteman.
going far down enough. That's what she said.
Would you search Minuteman on your computer?
Here, well, I've got an older one. I've got an older ad there. So, you know what? Today's big letter, because this is our cancel this episode of Dave's Gone By, is the letter C. Let me tell you all the things that Unit Minuteman Press can do. Oh my God. There's a bunch of them that they do just involving the letter C. They do cake bags and boxes, calendars, carbonless forms, catalog envelopes, ceramic mugs, because remember, C does also make the S sound. Challenge coins. I have no idea what the hell that is. Checks. Of course, they print out checks. Christmas and holiday cards, coasters.
Challenge coins?
Can you look that up? What is a challenge coin? I have no idea. I guess at my age, when you try and tell what denomination a coin is, it's a challenge. Coasters, complaint tickets, computer stationery, computer compatible forms, continuous envelopes, labels, letterheads, and forms, copies, color and black and white, coupons, and of course, courtesy cards. As I said, that is just the letter C. Those are the
Oh, it's a coin or medallion bearing an organization's insignia or emblem carried by the members.
There you go. I don't know why they call it a challenge coin, but that's the thing. It's a cool special thing. And, like I guess when you go to like amusement parks and touristy places where you put a penny in and it does something to it, they can make your own medallion and coin with your company's emblem on it. And the other cool thing is if you tell them Dave sent you, that you get 10% off any job, big or small, at Unit Minuteman Press. So whether it's a single-sided black and white copy or a color copy, double-sided, printing, binding, big jobs, hundreds of dollars, whether you're doing wedding invitations or holiday cards, Unit Minuteman Press can do it all for you, and they will take 10% off if you mention this program. Remember, it's Unit Minuteman Press, 516-569-5577. Area code 516-569-5577. Unit Minuteman Press. They are the what? The what? That's right.
Copy Kings of Broadway.
The Copy Kings of Broadway. And hey, speaking of Broadway, let's talk about it. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Inside Broadway we go, ladies and gentlemen. We do this every week because I'm a theater guy. I do love the theater, even though I was, what a week it's been, I was rejected for a job that would have been literally perfect for me, a job I have done at other places. This just rankled me no end. I applied for a job at a theater-related publication, okay? And sent in a cover letter, very nice cover letter, with a resume detailing my 30 years experience as a theater critic, as a theater journalist, as an actor, director, much less so, but just showing that I've got experience in all, in front of the curtain, behind the curtain, journalistically, critically, that, and of course, master's degrees in theater education, I mean, all of this, right? And then I get a form message back from this place that says, without even interviewing me, without even giving me the courtesy of showing, as one of my best things is that I'm very presentational, I'm very performative, and I can do editing and command a group of people because I've done it and assign things and edit things and write things. This job would have been unbelievably, in my, not only my wheelhouse, I would have been every single spoke in this job. And then I get this letter back saying, your resume isn't quite right for the skills needed for this position. I'm like, what? What? What are you doing at this publication where my skills don't fit? I mean, are you taking actors who have COVID and curing them? I can't, sorry, that I cannot do. That is not in my wheelhouse. What else? Are you designing very special ink that is digital ink that you use when you want to read the website? It's like, no. And it infuriated me. And all I could think about was, well, I'm probably twice the age, if we really get down to brass tacks. Twice the age of the person that they're actually looking for this position, because the staff is really young. Everybody there is in there. All these little sub-editors and associate editors and little fuckwads are all like, in their early 20s to mid-20s if they rise up the ladder. And I'm like this guy who's 56 with my glory years behind me and my biggest experience 20 years ago. And so, no, maybe they also want to be, and I'm sorry to be cancelly culturally about this, but maybe I'm the wrong shade.
I think you're the wrong age.
I'm the wrong age, wrong ethnicity, and, I'm straight. I don't have a detachable organ, and I'm not gender questioning. I know what gender I am. So I probably tick all the wrong boxes in terms of who people want to hire these days. But I think my wife is right. I think it's an age thing. Or, who knows, maybe, somewhere, every time I send out a resume, somewhere on the resume in small letters I put the words fuck you. And I figure they don't find it, but if they find it, if they go with a magnifying glass and they see the words fuck you on there, they probably aren't going to hire me. But, so I was enraged by that. And actually demanded an explanation from them. I wrote them a fairly, I haven't read it yet. I didn't want that to upset me last night, because I have all these other things on my mind. So they actually wrote back, because I wrote a letter. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I put it in the nicest terms possible, even though I was seething. Well, I go through life seething. But I put in the nicest terms possible of saying, I'm curious, because I'm going to be applying to other jobs like this. And you encouraged me in your form letter way that if other jobs come up at the company that might be more suitable to my talent, I should apply for those. Right? So it occurs to me, well, gosh, I thought my resume was right in there, right in that wheelhouse. So what's missing? Please tell me. Please tell. Do I need a PhD in journalism? No. Well, do I need?
What did they say?
What do I need? I can read it right now. I can read it. I really don't want to because I don't want to be surprised by this. But
I don't think you should read it verbatim, but I think you should look at it.
Okay, let me look at it. Let me see what came back to me from these people. Okay? I'm literally going to be looking at it as we speak. Oh, that's hilarious.
What?
They sent me the same fucking form letter.
Oh, wow.
They literally sent me the same form letter back. did not read, because I obviously a very different cover letter, if you will, and I'm not sending it to an actual person. It's a form letter that you go on their website and you post. So the first time it was a cover letter saying, "Hey, thank you for considering my application, and here's my skills, and here's what I've done, and this is why I would be great for you guys." And attached, please find in PDF form my resume. Blah blah blah.
So they sent you the same letter?
They sent me the same letter back. Same exact form letter back.
So contact their HR.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Isn't that one? And this letter I'll read because I've been stewing over it for the past 3 days. I love that. And I love getting all of you involved on this. Check this out, folks. Hi, David. Thank you for your application to...
Blah, blah, blah.
We've reviewed your resume, but unfortunately, we feel it as if it fit. This is why they need an editor, because they can't type a fucking rejection letter without making a mistake in it.
Say?
But unfortunately, we feel as if fit isn't quite right for the editor role.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because hey, for the janitorial, for the custodial role, I think I can do that. I think I can get coffee. But the editorship, which I can do, by the way, sleeping with 3 legs tied behind my back, no, not right for you. And thus, we won't be moving forward at this point. We invite you to resubmit in the future if you see a position that aligns with your skills and goals. We appreciate your interest in, and we wish you much success in your job search. Best, the team. Not even a person. Not even the person I just the team.
Yes.
And so I wrote back, "Dear team," and I sent them in the same address, the same form letter address, a very different letter saying, "Please explain. Please tell me, what can I do? If I do apply to you guys or someone else like you in the future, what skill sets am I missing? What is not kosher about my application to you? What's in my resume that's wrong or missing from my resume that would be, just tell me. So maybe I can take the next month or 2 or year or fix it." And the response is boilerplate form letter, same fucking thing. So there it
The
is.
first one have the spelling error?
And it's the same letter
Oh.
with the spelling error in it. This is what they're sending out to everybody. This is proving why they need an editor, because they're so retarded they don't know how to proofread the letters that they're sending out to people. Right? Wonderful.
David, you need some kind of anger management program.
Joyce says, "David, you need anger management. This program is my anger management. This is where I get it out. This is the fun part of my week, of my life. Without this, I would be out in the streets with an assault rifle." Ladies and gentlemen, this is what keeps me from that. Anywho. Moving on to Inside Broadway. I didn't even dig on that. Moving to Inside Broadway and Corona and COVID. So here's the deal. At least as of Friday, the Broadway League has not officially made a statement in terms of when the goalposts are being moved again for Broadway reopening. As I've been saying week after week, Broadway shows stopped on March 12th. And now, and September 7th, like right after Labor Day, that was the reopening-ish date for Broadway. It really didn't mean that shows would start up again on September 7th. They knew at that point it wasn't even going to happen. The point was that if you had bought tickets for shows between March and September 7th, all summer long, you can get a refund. You can exchange for later. I feel bad for people who said, who in early April said, "Oh, I'm going to cancel. Shows are canceled. I don't want my money back. I want to see the show. Oh, let me see it in October." or late August. Things will be fine by then. And they end up being recanceled again. So technically, Broadway's on hiatus through September 7th. But the whole industry is really speculating that Broadway will not open its doors in any way, shape, or form until after the new year. That's the sad, necessary fact. And that's assuming we don't get that autumn COVID spike that everybody's expected, that we don't turn into Texas and Florida. That is best case scenario, where they start letting the the Teamsters and the seamstresses and the costume designers and the directors and the actors starting to rehearse and back in the theaters and being together, let alone audiences coming in late winter and sitting, with perhaps masks on, perhaps not, or at least, injected with coronavirus antibodies or whatever. But that's the thinking, although it's not official yet. However, the rumblings, the little sprouts under the ground are positive in the sense that a couple of shows this week in a couple of places have said, yeah, it's literally going to be a year between when Broadway shut down and when Broadway reopens. It will take a year, unbelievably. Back in the day, 2 months ago, I was on here saying, it'll be a couple of weeks, but no, I'm totally wrong. It will not be until probably March that we will see Broadway shows again playing. But at least theater companies and theater organizations are thinking in those terms. So, for example, Flying Over Sunset, a new musical written by major people, James Lapine, Tom Kitt, Michael Corey. They thought they would be opening in the fall after Labor Day. They know they're not. And they've officially said, well, yep, spring 2021, they will open at the Vivian Beaumont Theater in Lincoln Center. So they've realized now fall's not going to happen, but they're saying, we're keeping the company together. It'll take a year since we thought we were going to be doing this. But a year from when it was going to open, we're opening Flying Over Sunset. Same thing for American Buffalo. They're going to do, I don't know why we need another revival of American Buffalo, but Neil Pepe, I think is how you pronounce his name, from the Atlantic Theater Company, he's directing. It was going to be at Circle in the Square. Well, 1 year after it was supposed to open, literally on the same dates, just 1 year later, they've announced that, barring problems and assuming there's some kind of vaccine, they're gonna open American Buffalo. Now the cast was supposed to be Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Rockwell, and Darren Criss. Whether they can keep that whole cast together, that is still under wraps. That is still uncertain. But at least, here's this play it was voted the best American play by the New York Drama Critics Circle years ago when it first opened. I'm not sure. No, I'm thinking of Glenn Ross, that won the Pulitzer. But this is American Buffalo. It's already had 3 revivals, or 3 performances on Broadway, the first and then 2 revivals. The last one was not very good. It was with John Leguizamo. Okay, it might be cool to see American Buffalo again. They're gonna bring it back, and it's gonna happen opening April 14th, 2021. Hey, at least the producers are saying, Broadway will be back. We promise. Same thing with a show called The Minutes. Now, this is a play by Tracy Letts, one of our most interesting playwrights. He's also a great actor. He had a play this past season that was pretty good, and it was called Linda Vista. And that actually opened earlier the season that has been foreshortened and canceled. But Tracy Letts has another play called The Minutes, all about a town hall meeting and all the backstabbing and internal politics going on. Certainly sounded really good. And it came out of Chicago. Anna D. Shapiro directing, was supposed to open in mid-March. Didn't happen. And everybody's thinking, it's a small show. It doesn't have a star in it. How are they even going to think of reopening that? How are they going to get people into a Broadway theater? They're going to. They're going to open it March 15th, 2021 at the Court Theater, The Minutes by Tracy Letts. Yay. Okay? And one more. Now, this is a little bit more, not sad news, I would say, but a little more disappointing for people who really hoped and really thought that by late fall things would get going again. They're not. Everybody's been focusing on The Music Man, a revival of the Music Man with Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman. Now, you want to talk about instant box office coffers ringing. You either put Lin-Manuel Miranda's name out there, or maybe Al Pacino, or you get Hugh Jackman. Well, Hugh Jackman as Harold Hill in The Music Man was supposed to happen at the end of last season. Then they thought they'd open it in the fall. That has been moved to spring, but they have an opening date. That's the thing, folks. May 7th at the Winter Garden Theater on Broadway. So all these shows that were hanging amorphously, waiting for news about the autumn in New York, they're giving up on autumn. Everybody is. But next spring, yes, next late winter, barring, as we said, something horrible, all these shows starting to announce, picking dates, saying we're coming back. Broadway will be back. And the best way to keep apprised of what is happening on Broadway, Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway since 1944. If you want to know about the stages of New York, and for all we know, off and off Broadway will probably come back before Broadway does. We may start seeing off shows in early or late fall. How are you going to find out who's doing them, where they are, who the producers are, who the actors are, the designers? It's all on the pages of Performing Arts Insider. This is the March issue. I haven't gotten my hands on the July issue, the July issue yet. That's still at the printers, the printer being Hewlett Man Press, by the way. But check this out. Check out what's in every issue. A guide to all the shows of the Broadway season. So this was the season that just happened, or half happened. All the shows that did open, all the shows that were supposed to open but are being postponed until the spring, essentially. A look at the Broadway Theater District. Also, next page, a guide to all the Broadway theaters, where they're located, how many seats they have. Are they owned by Nederlander, Joe Jamson, Roundabout, Manhattan Theater Club, Second Stage? All the information on one page. Now, yeah, some of this information you can go opening a zillion windows on your computer, but isn't it easier just to hold this in your hand, scan down the page, there it is. And then a guide to all the press agents. These are the folks who handle the PR for all these productions. So if you wanted to get in contact with an actor or a producer, these are the first people you go through. We've got their email addresses and their phone numbers, a guide to the press agents. And then this is what people really turn to Performing Arts Insider for. I mean, every page has something that certain people will want, but this is a day-by-day look at every show playing, starting previews, opening, or closing on Broadway. Plus, we do that for every show off and off Broadway, too. You can't find that anywhere else. A guide to all the awards and the special events. There aren't any at the moment, but come next May or June, there will be. And so Performing Arts Insider gathers all that information, makes it really readable and usable in one place. And then, of course, the heart of the magazine, where we have our comprehensive listing of every production on, off, and off Broadway, every piece of information that you can possibly think of. So we were talking about The Music Man being, unfortunately, postponed. Let's see if I have that. I better have that in here. It should be, here it is. Here was the information as of March. Now, things change, but look at all that info. The author, well, it was Meredith Wilson many, many years ago, directed by Jerry Zaks, the choreographer, all the designers, the dance arranger, the casting company, which is Telsey, all the cast, Hugh Jackman, Jane Houdyshell, Jefferson Mays, Schuler Hensley, Marie Mullen, I mean, some well-known Broadway people there. Produced by Scott Rudin, some other folks, up the plot synopsis, some notes about the show, the Winter Garden Theater, where that's located and who owns it, and the dates for the show. Okay, big deal. So that's just The Music Man. But think of all this information for every show on, off, and off Broadway, not only currently playing, but in the pipeline for months and even years ahead. Nobody does this like Performing Arts Insider. And there's even a rumors column, kind of our cool fun thing.
What's a good rumor?
Well, again, this is going back to the March issue, but there hasn't been that much activity since March anyway. So there's the Neil Diamond Project. It's a biographical review with Anthony McCartan doing the book, and Michael Mayer directing. Ken Davenport and Bob Gaudio are thinking of producing this. There was a private run-through that was done in January, according to the New York Post. And McCartan, by the way, wrote the screenplay for Bohemian Rhapsody. That was the movie about Queen and the two popes. So they're working on a musical with all Neil Diamond music about Neil Diamond's life and career. Okay, you didn't know that. Did you know that? Right? Maybe if you were lucky enough to glance in the New York Post that one time they wrote about it, you might know. But Performing Arts Insider has the scoop. It's all there. How do you get Performing Arts Insider? Go to performingartsinsider.com. Performingartsinsider.com. It's a rather expensive publication. It's a journal, not an academic journal, but it is an industry publication. And yet the folks who subscribe, they renew again and again and again because they can't get this information this way anywhere else. Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. Well, we move back to Broadway for one more piece of news, and I'm so happy. The last 2 weeks that we've been doing this Broadway, this Inside Broadway segment, it hasn't been, this person died, and let's remember them, and let's light a memorial and candle, and so sad, and here's their career. No! Happy news the last 2 weeks. We're going to end our Inside Broadway segment with some more good news. A new play being announced for Broadway.
What is it?
I'm a poet and I know it. Trouble in Mind by Alice Childress, directed by Charles Randolph Wright, has been added to the Roundabout Theatre Company's Spring 2021 Broadway schedule at their American Airlines Theater. So it's kind of sandwiched in between the plays Birthday Candles and they're doing a revival of the musical 1776.
Oh, Bill Bradford said, made it back.
Hello, Bill Bradford. Made back from where?
When he was here last time.
Oh, welcome back, Bill. Hey, Bill.
Back, yeah.
Bill, wonderful stage. If this is the Bill that I know, is he blonde guy?
He's wearing glasses, I believe so. I can't see that.
'Cause if he is, he's a marvelous stage manager.
Yes,
if it's the same Bill.
It looks like, let me see, hold on, I gotta take off my glasses.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Joyce is looking for Bill's picture in
He's
his.
wearing a turtleneck and glasses. He must be an artist. Right?
It must be. Anyway,
That's
welcome,
not
Bill.
stereotyping.
So, but anyway, Alice Childress's play, Trouble in Mind. Now, Alice Childress is not a new playwright. Roundabout Theatre generally doesn't do new plays on Broadway. They have their off-Broadway stuff to do that.
Bill made it back.
Yeah, me too. So this was written in the mid-1950s by a black playwright, the first black playwright to have a play done on Broadway. This play is called Trouble in Mind, and it covers, and it's all about Broadway itself. It's about a black actress cast in a role in a Broadway play circa 1955. Childress co-founded the American Negro Theater, which I don't is probably not the same as the Negro Ensemble Company. And she was the first African-American woman to be produced professionally in New York with a play called Gold Through the Trees in 1952. The wording of that makes it sound like it may not have been Broadway. Maybe it was off Broadway. But hey, nice that they're bringing this person back. Certainly the right time to have a black female playwright on Broadway. But again, the cool thing is that nobody's announcing new stuff for Broadway. We're just hoping all the stuff that was planned is going to go through and come back in the spring. But here's the Roundabout being proactive, saying we're producing a play that hasn't been done, a new play for us, not a new play, and we're announcing it for Broadway in the spring of 2021. Hurrah! And for that, I say, ain't Broadway grand?
It's the famous gay white way, where the night is bright as day.
Oh yeah!
Ain't Broadway grand?
Tinkle, tinkle,
It's
tinkle.
not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's excitement, it's romance, it's all fun and song and dance. This wonderland, you can be a millionaire quicker here than anywhere. Ain't Broadway grand?
You audition very well. You're in
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Broadway is grand indeed, and we are very grand and happy to be doing this. Dave's gone by Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream live on this Saturday morning, June 27th, 2020. It is our 752nd, can you believe it? Our 752nd episode of the program featuring me, Dave Lefkowitz, who just isn't, experienced or qualified enough to edit a theatrical newspaper.
Oh.
Sigh.
Oh, wait a second. What was that?
My darling and commiserating wife, Joyce, who so much as called me an idiot on the show.
Take out your toothbrush. Take out your
Yeah,
toothbrush.
wait. God damn that theatrical newspaper. God damn these people are rejecting me. God, people think I don't know, that I don't think enough about stuff. Oh, so good. Oh, so good.
Oh, Bill said it's me.
Yay! Bill! I hope to work with you again.
Say to Bill, like, who else could you be than you?
Well, the name Bill,
Yeah,
it's
but who
not.
else could you be than you? You are you.
That's true. You are my friend. You are special. You are my. I'd be nice if I found a key to sing that in. You are my friend. You are special. You are
I
my
just
friend.
liked his comment saying it's him.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Bill, and welcome everybody who's watching and listening to Dave's Gone By on this Saturday. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We've got our Wretched Pun of Destiny. We have my new segment coming up, Dave's Gone Canceling. We're going to cancel culture. Someone very big, very important, I used to think this woman was brilliant, but I can't think that anymore. I'm not allowed to like her stuff anymore. So sad, so bad. Anywho, all of that to come on Dave's Gone By. But before we get to that, I'm hoping, Bill, maybe you'll play with us. I didn't even see all these people who were writing in. Mark, hello, Shabbat Shalom to you, Mark. And best wishes to my folks. Mark, I hope you're still with us. Lisa, are you still there? Because I want to do our Today, Yesterday quiz. This is a quiz that we try and do every week. It's kind of fun. I don't see my other relatives here, unfortunately. They're usually the folks who play against. But it's a trivia quiz. And your job is to, without cheating, without looking at Bing or Google or, your phone, whatever you look up things on, you've got to try and come up with the trivia answer for this date in history, June 27th. So if you think of it first, by all means, you can physically play with us. You might get arrested, but here's the deal. Just type in your answer right on my Facebook page and see if you can be the first one to type in the correct answer to the trivia question. You don't win anything, sorry. It's just for poops and giggles. But Lisa, I hope you can play. I hope Cousin Mark is still there. And I don't know, Sip is there. But whoever's there, if you're watching and you're on Facebook and you want to type in and be the first and beat everybody else, we're going to see if you can do that. We call this quiz Today, Yesterday. Yes, you can find the answer by yourself, although you can call a friend. You can consult whatever object you need to consult for the answers to our Today, Yesterday quiz. Are you all ready? Ready, folks? I have some really cool questions on this week's quiz. Remember, all of these events in history happened on June 27th. Oh, I've got a message from Kenneth. Hello, Kenneth. Let's hold this down. He's just sending me something about New York that I can't really look at the moment. I will look at it later, but Kenneth, you're also welcome to play along in the game too. 1800 is the year, turn of the century, kind of. Born today, in perfect health, was Helen Keller, who would lose her speech and hearing at 18 months. Now, when Helen was 6 years old, her family consulted a physician on how to educate her. He didn't know, but he hooked them up with a well-known inventor who recommended the Perkins Institute for the Blind, and the rest is history. Who was this inventor whose advice changed Helen Keller's life? Was it, I'll even give you a multiple choice, ladies and gentlemen, was it Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford, Nikola Tesla? Okay. So Helen Keller, I didn't realize, I'd forgotten that she had sight and hearing up until she was 18 months old, and then lost it in a bad illness. But then when her family's trying to teach her and reach her, they didn't know what to do. They called the doctor. The doctor had a friend, and this friend of the doctor, who's a very famous person, recommended the Perkins Institute that changed Helen Keller's life. So who was the friend that Helen Keller's family consulted? Was it Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford, or Nikola Tesla? I'll give you, since we're on delay here, I'll give you a little bit of time. And I'm hoping some folks will try and play along with the game. And we'll try and be first. So when we get our first answer. And
you have Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh, says, who's the first name?
Bill.
Oh, Bill.
Bill says Bell.
Bill says Bell. Is Bill correct? Is Bill, I can't think of a pun. I'm sorry.
Is Bill besought?
Well, but Bill has an answer. And I don't have an answer yet from anybody else. So therefore, do you want to take a stab? Is Bill correct? Or
I agree with Bill.
You think it was Alexander Graham Bell?
Yeah, I'm a friend of Bill's.
You, not only that, you are a friend of Bell's. Go Bill! Go Bill! You are absolutely correct. Alexander Graham Bell, who thought that deafness could be eradicated, and he's actually controversial in the deaf community because he did a lot to help with deafness and deaf people.
We saw that on Murdoch Mysteries where they had, remember?
Right.
They had the whole thing of someone signing, and they were saying that he wanted to help her hear, but is it appropriate to make people hear? They were parodying that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a true thing.
Yeah.
The deaf community has very mixed feelings about Graham Bell because if he wanted to make people hear, he would take away sign language and the beauty of that.
Also, a lot of people who are in the deaf community have concerns about
the Coke
plant. Yeah, the Coke
well,
plant.
that wasn't in Bell's time.
No.
But
I gave Bill a laughing one. He got a
yeah, yeah. Or I would say ring a ding ding, since it's Alexander Graham Bell. You know, every time I tell jokes about Alexander Graham Bell, I feel like a phone-e. I'm sorry. Telling jokes is just my higher calling. Yeah.
Oh, people.
Moving on, our next question in our Today Yesterday quiz, we go all the way to 1912. June 27th is the date, 1912 the year. Speaking of teachers, born today in Guyana was author E.R. Braithwaite. He turned his experiences teaching in an East End London school into
I know what this is.
Into an autobiographical novel, which was later adapted into a hit film starring Sidney Poitier and Lulu.
An easy one.
All right, yeah, for our generation, there might be an easy one, but if you're
Bill
under
says
30,
Alexander Graham Bell.
Well, name the book and the movie that the book was based on.
It's one of my favorite movies.
So let's see who can do this first. If it's an easy one, who gets the basket? Check Bill. You got it. See if Bill's gotten it. Or anybody else. Lisa or Mark or Sif or Friendy or anybody who's watching. Type it in. I want to hear from you.
I'm reloading the site, David. Hold on.
Okay. But again, the year was 1912. Born in Guyana, E.R. Braithwaite, who taught in an East London school, wrote a novel about it. Novel was turned into a movie that featured Sidney Poitier and Lulu. Give it one more sec. Name the book and the... No, I'm going to knock over this beverage. Hold on.
What does he know about life?
And if you know the name of the book and the movie, you also know the name of the theme song for the movie that Lulu sang on the soundtrack.
I'm telling you.
Okay, so nobody's chiming in with this?
I say it to
Joyce.
Sir with love.
Yes! Or as Lulu sang, to Sir with love. Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Toothbrush time, honey. Toothbrush time.
Okay, good. Here we go. On to our third question in our yesterday quiz. I'm surprised Bill didn't chime in with that. Oh, well, here we go. 1922. Historian and author Hendrik Willem van Loon won this award for his book, The Story of Mankind. It was the first year of this award for, quote, distinguished contribution to American literature for children, and it continues to this day. Name the award. This was a little tough. Okay? So back in 1922, on this date, the book The Story of Mankind by Hendrik Willem van Loon won this award, first one ever given. It was for distinguished contribution to American literature for children. That's the big clue. What was this award? Ah, maybe people aren't chiming in because I'm not holding up our big prop. Okay, now hold that up for a second. I know we're on tape delay, or it takes a moment or two to hear what I'm saying and then type back. Do we have any responses?
Nope.
Come on, folks, you can do it.
People are joining, but nobody's saying.
Well, welcome all the folks who are joining. The question is, what award was founded and given for the first time on this date, June 27th, 98 years ago, back in 1922? What was it? It was an award given for children. I will give a clue, because we brought it up before. It's kind of, if you think of it this way, a challenge coin in the way that this award is presented.
It's not the Pulitzer.
Not the Pulitzer. Anybody? I'll give it a couple more seconds. Anyway, just take a guess. No?
What is it?
Owen, do you want to take a stab at it?
I don't know. I forget.
Hmm.
Stab Siegel?
Let's see. If I, when you have your breakfast in the morning, you don't, and you eat fruit with it, don't you?
Yeah.
But not if it's all moldy and crinkly.
Raspberry?
Well, yeah,
Roddenberry? No.
close. It's not from before. It's fresh. It's
Ripe?
or
Ripe?
not old.
New? Newberry.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Newbery Medal. The Newbery Medal was first given out on this date in 1922. It was named for an 18th century children's writer named John Newbery. Ah, okay, got through that one. Let's do some more. 1950. Oh, it's a theater question. Oh, yay. 1959 is the year. On June 27th, after 734 performances, West Side Story closes at Broadway's Winter Garden Theater. Which of these is not a song from that show? Now, Bill, if you're watching, you should know this one. Which of these is not?
He said Alexander Graham Bell. That's an old
Which of these is not a song from West Side Story? When the Sun Goes Down, Something's Coming, A Boy Like That, Cool. Okay. Let me read it one more time so people have a chance. After 734 performances, so this program has actually run longer than West Side Story. 734 performances, West Side Story closes today, back in 1959 at the Winter Garden Theater. Which of these is not a song from that show? When the Sun Goes Down, Something's Coming, A Boy Like That, and Cool are the choices. I'm hoping, I'm kind of disappointed that people aren't chiming in. We have all these people tuned in. But remember, you can type to me here on my Facebook page. If you're in the watch party, you can type there. I can see the messages there. Let me see if there's anybody messaging me here.
You can see the watch party too?
No, you're seeing that. But I'm just seeing these. Let's see there.
People are joining, but...
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give a little bit of a countdown. So, darling, do you want to take a stab at this one?
It's When the Sun Goes Down.
Yes! Go, Joyce! Go, 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 Joyce. That's right. All the other songs are from West Side. Something's coming, something's that. A boy like that will kill your mother. And cool, keep it cool. Whereas When the Sun Goes Down is from a musical called In the Heights by...
Joyce.
Yeah, I know. 1977 is the year of our next question. 1977. Today, we have a comment.
Bill Bradford said, I don't know if he's saying bye or hi. I think he's leaving. I don't know
Oh,
is this bye or hi?
well, since he was with us, I'm imagining it's like
Bye.
shalom. Sometimes it means hello, but if they've been there a while, they're probably saying goodbye. Well, sorry to see you go. Where the hell are you going, Bill? There's no shows to stage
He said,
manage.
when the sun comes down,
Oh,
he said,
there's a delay. Yeah.
answered to Sir with love, but did not go out to you.
Whoops. Okay. Well, we do have a new router. So, there you go.
I'm going to give him a smile now.
Well, Bill, if you can still stay, see if you can answer this one. 1977 is the year.
Yeah.
The East African territory of the Afars and Isas
Yes.
declared independence today
Yes.
and called itself Djibouti. From which country did they break free? See, I'm still a poet and I know it. So here's the next question. On June 27th, 1977, a territory called the Afars and Isas declared independence and decided to call itself Djibouti. From which country did they break free? Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. I should be doing more West Side Story
Bill
music.
said some kind of glitch going on.
Oh, tonight, can you answer the question tonight? Is Djibouti free or not?
Can you give us a hint?
Ooh, well, the hint is, think of countries that traditionally colonized other countries.
Oh, okay. I know who it is.
So, okay.
It's mostly two groups in Africa.
Well, the Afars and Isas in this case, which then call themselves Djibouti.
I thought
Well, it might be one of those two. Anything from Bill? Is Bill still with us, or was he waiting?
Still watching.
Good. So, Bill, do we have an answer?
Don't put pressure on him.
Bill, I don't have anybody else chiming in. You're my go-to, and you didn't get it wrong. I'm not going to make fun of you.
Yes, you will.
Yes, I will. You get the wrong answer. Or, since I'm Dave and it's my show and I'm kind of oppositional, I could make fun of you if you get the right answer. That's how I roll. That's how politically incorrect I am. So is Bill taking a stab?
Nobody. You're afraid
Well,
to
then-
love people.
Well, what about you? Because you have to pick one.
I think it's the English or the French. I'm going to say the French.
Yes!
Yay!
It was indeed. It was actually French Somaliland. Was the territory.
colonizers.
Yeah. And plus, think of it. I mean, Africans, that whole continent was really French more than... England, I don't think, made that many inroads in terms of that
Rhodesia.
continent.
Rhodesia.
Oh, maybe. Well, that was Dutch, wasn't it?
And English.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, I as the song goes, I don't know much about history. Let's go to another yesterday quiz question. 1980 was the year. It's always more fun when it's like I've been alive in the time period. So, 7 years after the draft ended, Jimmy Carter signed into law the Military Selective Service Act, requiring males to register just in case they were needed. If you were a man in 1980 and now, what was the age range within which you had to register? And I'll give you it's a multiple choice. 18 through 25, 18 through 29, 18 through 30, 18 through 35. So, I'll say this again. Selective Service, the Act, was enacted on this date in 1980. If you're a man and you've got to register, right, what is the age range in which you are legally required to put your name in and your contact information to serve if need be. 18 through 25, 18 through 29, 18 through 30, 18 through 35. Okay. Now you seem to have an answer for yourself.
I think
but
it's the younger age group.
Joyce is picking the first one, 18 to 25 years old through
And I
25.
also think the 35 one might work.
Well,
No.
do you agree with Joyce, or do you have a different opinion as to what the, or are you someone in that age range? Not we have that many viewers in that range, but you would probably know. So, what is the range? Do we have?
I'll check.
Yeah, just check in a sec. So, because otherwise, Joyce does have an answer first, because they can also play against Joyce.
Oh, God. 18 to 25. Bill and I are in unison.
Bill and Joyce are in unison, but are they correct?
Of course.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes, indeed, they are 18 to through 25. So on your 26th birthday, you're kind of safe, although not really. The Selective Service thing says you have to sign up at this point. It doesn't mean that they can't draft anybody older than that. As a matter of fact, apparently, there were plans for this. I don't know if they went through, but there is a secret list of draftable personnel between ages 20 and 54. Of folks who would be especially useful during wartime, like medical people and nurses and doctors and stuff. Yeah. In other words, they have this list of all these folks that, if needed in like a nuclear freaking war.
Like smart people?
Yeah. So whether you might be 38 and they say, hey, we need you on the front lines because people are dying of radiation.
Or we need you as a scientist. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, and I just remember, I mean, as much as so many people hate Trump, and as much as George W. Bush was a horror, one of the worst presidents in my life was Jimmy Carter. And I just remember I was putting up signs all over my neighborhood when the Selective Service, because I was of age, right? And I was like, just trashing him, trashing the idea of the draft again, of sending someone like me to be in the military. And I remember I put up a sign, it looked like a little handmade cartoony sort of a sign, on a bulletin board at the local supermarket. I remember walking out of the supermarket and standing there and seeing some big, stocky, obviously ex-Marine guy stand in front of it, look at it, snatch it, and crumple it up.
Wow. That's called freedom of speech, baby.
Yeah. I had my freedom of speech. He has his. Mm-hmm. And then when he walked away, I went back and I put up another sign. Oh, and it was a bitch because these were handmade. I wasn't printing them up or anything. These are all handcrafted. I wish I had them.
Minuteman Press.
Yeah, I should have printed up a bunch of them. Can you turn make the AC colder?
Oh my God!
I am schwitzing here like crazy.
Okay.
Just pop it to like 66 instead of 67. I really. Oh yeah, we'll pull those up. That'll help. Yeah. Yeah, pulling those up makes a big difference. Thank you. That's what she said. All right, we have a couple more questions in our today.
Getting more?
Yes. Oh, just having those things.
I made it high.
Yeah.
I went from medium to high.
Okay, here we go. Oh, a couple more questions in our today.
Light, you can save the light.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna, because the picture quality looks great, so I'm gonna leave that. 1982. A friend of the Daverhood is mentioned in this question. After more than 4 years, the musical review Dancin' closes on Broadway. Another Broadway question. The music ranges from pop songs by Melissa Manchester, our friend of the Daverhood, and Cat Stevens, to John Philip Sousa marches and Sing, Sing, Sing.
Sing, sing, sing.
But all of it was directed and choreographed by who?
Lin-Manuel Noriega.
No, it was not Lin-Manuel Noriega, ladies and gentlemen. Here you go. And if you watch miniseries, you probably know the answer to this as well. That's a hint.
Bill, you gotta help. Doesn't Bill know this stuff?
Bill will know this one. After more than 4 years, the musical review Dancin' closed on this date back in 1982 on Broadway. So in the show, The music ranged all over the map, from swing era to marching band stuff to pop songs by Cat Stevens and Melissa Manchester and the like. But the whole show was directed and choreographed by one person. Can you tell me who he was? Let me hold up the thing. And I imagine Bill has already furiously typed in the answer to this one. But Joyce is putting eye drops in the dog as we speak.
I'm sorry, no.
No, it's important. That's,
She'll hear. Oh, Bob Fosse. I'm Team Bill, yeah?
Yes, indeed. It was indeed. Dum, bum, 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 Bob Fosse, indeed, choreographed and created the show Dancing. All right, we've got 2 more questions in our Today Yesterday quiz. You're doing so great, Bob. Bill. As a special promotion for this band, on June 27th,
There is a delay, so the watch party's about... You're right now in the watch party, you're just playing the xylophone.
Oh, yeah, no, that's why I leave so much time to... After that's why I can never do...
See, now you're still playing
still
playing xylophone, okay.
No, but that's why this show can never be quite like Jeopardy. You know, Jeopardy's so much fun to watch in the first 20 minutes because they do like 30 questions in 8 minutes. And they do 30 more questions in another 8 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes of Jeopardy, who wants to watch? Because it's like one fucking question. You have to watch the whole rest of the show. I don't care. I want to, boom, boom, rapid fire. I wish I could do that. But if I want to get you guys involved because of the delay thing, that's a little tough. But I do have a question here. 1994 is the year, June 27th. As a special promotion for this band, Geffen Records releases the song Head First as a free digital download.
What?
This was the first...
I didn't hear the song Heads First.
Head First.
Head First?
Head First. Okay? This is the first time a major label released a song intentionally as an available free digital download, all the way back in 26 years ago. Name the band. Okay? This might be a little bit more out of Bill's wheelhouse, I have to say, but anybody else know this one? Okay? Geffen Records released the song Head First as a free digital download. So this wasn't being stolen, it wasn't being...
You're only asking the question now.
Yeah. What was that thing that Napster? This was not a Napster thing. This was literally intentional. They put out the song for free to people who wanted to have it. Name the band. I will say that the song was not on the band's album. It was kind of a bonus track that was for fans to download for free. What was the band? Do we have any answers? I know we have a delay, but... No. I will also give a hint. The name of the album that was being promoted along with this promotional...
Is it Bob Fosse?
No. It's Alexander Graham Bell. No, it's not.
He said he's still watching, but we're not...
He might not know this one. You want to take a guess?
There's no answer, so...
Okay.
Say it, do it again.
Well, I'll give you a hint here. The band, the album that this song was kind of a bonus track for, but not initially, I guess, on the released album.
Yeah.
The album was called Get a Grip.
Okay.
Get a Grip,
Yeah.
which was a very popular album for this hugely popular band at the time. Still popular band. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. Definitely do not know.
Oh,
That's a good song.
I'm not getting any other. I'm going to have to count it down. Do you want to take a stab?
I think it was Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball.
No. A little early. Not a bad guess, but no.
I don't know.
And it's also it's a band, not a solo person. Think of the real popular bands of that era. Downloading digital MTV era.
Oh, Boys to Men. Backstreet Boys.
Another good guess, but no. Kind of, if you think about the opposite of the Backstreet Boys.
Hanson Brothers?
No, not the same. The opposite, like
Oh,
in temperament, in behavior, in
Metallica?
much closer. Good guess.
Iron Maiden. Ozzy Osbourne.
Not quite that.
Quiet Riot.
No.
Queen.
These are all really good guesses.
Say it.
The answer is Get a Grip album, really, really popular for the band Aerosmith.
Oh.
Aerosmith, they released a song Head First that was a promotional, first time that a record company did this. And think about the time that this was, because people had dial-up and modems. It took 60 to 90 minutes to download a 3.5 minute song, and 10,000 CompuServe customers did just that on this date in June of 1994. Are you ready for our final question in today's yesterday quiz? Everybody ready? Everybody gearing up? Shake yourselves out. You know, clear your brain cells. Here we go. The novelist, this is 2005. The novelist and
Your friend David just joined.
Which one? Me? I just joined?
Dr. David.
Oh, from my high school. Yay. Hello, Dr. David. This novelist and Civil War historian became surprisingly well known thanks to his prominent appearance in Ken Burns' Civil War documentary series. Name this writer who shares his last name with a third cousin who was a notable playwright, and he also shares his name with a body part. Yes, indeed. This is a real Jeopardy kind of question. This is one of these Ken Jenningsy questions, which he would have answered already. But I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it. Here we go. Complicated question. I'll ask it again. Novelist and Civil War historian. Actually became almost a household name for appearing repeatedly on Ken Burns' documentary series, The Civil War. Name the writer. His third cousin is a very well-known playwright, same last name, a last name that also is a body part.
Give people time.
Yeah, I'm going to hold this up here, and let's see if anybody. It's kind of a shame nobody's chiming in on my screen thing here. I kind of wish people were taking a guess. But we all have to now think back of the wonderful documentary that was like 25, 30 years ago already. But great series. And you saw this guy again and again as like the leading expert on the Civil War. Can you name him? Okay.
You're doing part of time.
And remember, while you're thinking about this,
Watch party time.
oh yeah, check and see if Bill or somebody came through.
Oh, another obscurity.
I'm sure he wouldn't be happy to hear that. I think he's still alive. I'm going to give a countdown. Now, hon, think of a body part. No, not that body part. What would be a body part that might be someone's last name?
Hand.
Or
Foot. William LaFoot. Foot.
what a great name, William LaFoot.
Foot.
No, not my pal Foot.
My pal's name is Foot.
Well, you're real close on this. It was the historian, the Civil War guy, Shelby Foote. You don't remember how famous he got when the Civil War was?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Shelby Foote, who's
I'm freezing. I feel like a rack of lamb in this place.
See, I'm still warm over here, but it feels real good. I'm good. But his third cousin was No, don't make it colder.
No, then fix the blower.
Oh, Joyce is going to fix the blower. So I should have a fun night. Anyway,
Is that coming more toward you?
Yeah, no, I feel it. I'm saying, but it's this corner of the room is the warmest corner because it's so far away from the thing.
You want some?
No.
Put ice up.
I'm great.
There's ice on your tray. Put ice in your tea. You want tea? That cup of water used to be ice.
Yeah, okay, well, it's not ice anymore.
The
Oh, no,
plastic
it's partial. It's ice-like.
Drink that.
It's Ice 9
Drink
from
that and
Pokemon.
rinse. Rinse and spit.
So here's the deal. The answer, and of course the playwright was Hortonfoot, who wrote all these plays about Texas and wrote this screenplay for To Kill a Mockingbird based on And Tender Mercies, and of course the body part being the foot.
The foot.
I don't know why I held up my hand for that. That is today's yesterday quiz. Here, wow, what did you just do to the AC? It started really blasting. Wow.
I just moved the vents.
Yeah, wow. Okay, there we go.
That's what I'm feeling on the floor. That's why
Yeah.
the dog is wrapped up. We're freezing.
Oh man, no, because I wasn't feeling it before. Now I'm feeling it.
Because it was pointing. You had blowers pointing to the door, not pointing to you. So.
Yeah, no, I definitely need the blowers pointing down, which is why I paid my horse extra. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling adorable wife Joyce. It's about 10 to noon Eastern time. We do this program every Saturday from 9 to noon or thereabouts right here on this Facebook page. I do also want to remind you one more time, and by the way, we're not close to finished with the show. We still have, we got our Wretched Pun of Destiny. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We have coming up next the new segment, yay, called Dave's Gone Canceling. Oh, we're so excited. But remember that our archives are at davesgoneby.com. From our very first episode all the way to last week's show, all the audio, all the video, all the skits, all the interviews, davesgoneby.com. Also, check us out at archive.org, Castbox.fm, and YouTube. So many places to find our episodes of the show and all our content and material. I'm very proud of that. Oh my God! Oh, oh! Just now,
Yeah.
Friendy chimed in with Shelby Foot. Oh well. I guess it's Shelby Foot at
Better
some
late
point.
than never. At least
Yeah,
they
yeah,
knew.
better. You should have chimed in with Alexander Graham Bell. That would.
When you have friends who are librarians, they have special skills.
They do. Well, I'm glad to see Friendy tune in and say hi.
Name is friend.
So if you tuned in late and you missed the quiz, you can go back and play it later. We will archive. And don't forget, also, Facebook itself archives the live videos that we do. So literally 5 minutes after the show's over, you can go back and watch it right here on this Facebook page, or get other people who might be interested to watch it. You don't have to be. We love it if you like and follow us on Facebook and make us, send a friend request. We let you be a friend or see us first. But anybody can watch our shows on Facebook. You don't have to be admitted or be liked and followed us or have me accept you to watch the show. Anybody can tune right in to the show or to our archives right here on Facebook. Well, it is 11:52 in the morning Eastern time here in the Daverhood with me, Dave Lefkowitz, doing the Dave's Gone By program. As I said, so much to do. But I'm excited because we are inaugurating a brand new segment. Not sure how many times I don't know if I'll do it every week, but certainly frequently I intend to do this new segment. We're calling this whole episode "Cancel This" because oh boy, I'm so woke, so part of the cancel culture now. And as I'm saying, if you've been watching this show, even just today's episode, I've said about 10 different things that would have the watchdogs of the left proclaiming me censurable and wanting to cancel me immediately. But that's the cool thing. I get to cancel other people. I get to be self-righteous about other folks. So we have, and I even have a song that we'll play to end the segment. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a new segment called Dave's Gone Canceling. And I've been holding this in abeyance the whole time of whom we're going to cancel today. Someone famous, someone big. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. I even have my notes. Let me just blow my nose. Dave's Gone Canceling, number 1.
You don't want the picture?
Oh, you do have that ready on your phone? Yeah.
Hold on.
Hold it in abeyance for the right timing.
I got it, but I'm freezing. I got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are difficult
Do you
times.
want anything from downstairs? 'Cause
No,
freezing.
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you very much. These are difficult times as we grapple for the very soul of our nation. America is a great country, but it has been built on the backs of the poor, and along the way it has mocked, abused, and sometimes murdered those who don't fit into the hegemonic Norman Rockwell Leave It to Beaver family album. It has taken 250 years, but we're finally doing something about it. No, we're not fixing immigration laws or rethinking the criminal justice system or leveling the economic playing field for everyone of all races. That would be silly. Instead, we're showing that we care by taking things that were created in a whole different time and mindset and culturally erasing them. Why bother with substantive change when you can tear down a statue? Why make a serious effort when you can simply signal your wokeness? And you do that by taking offense at an artwork that never made you mad before, but now leaves you furious. Right-wingers are sneering at this trend, calling it cancel culture. It's making believe the movie or book or song or pancake syrup never existed because it represents something racial or worse. You don't hear a lot of Bill Cosby routines on Sirius XM's Comedy Channel. Mel Gibson movies aren't all the rage at the B'nai B'rith, and the collected love sonnets of Jeffrey Epstein still hasn't found a publisher. But why stop there? Don't be namby-pamby like HBO Max and put Gone with the Wind in historical context. Just cancel it. Burn the prints. Delete the MP4s. Don't play Richard Wagner at the Israeli Philharmonic and think you can justify it with an essay in the stage bill. Kick that Gotterdammerung opera out the door. And so, in that spirit, we inaugurate this new special segment of Dave's Gone By, Dave's Gone Canceling. You, my viewers, you've had a hard week, a hard year, so it's no fair to ask you to think for yourselves. Let me think for you. So much racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, homophobia, and sheer tastelessness goes unchecked out there. I feel it's my duty, and yes, I said duty, to call for the removal of artworks that either of themselves or through the actions of their creators call to mind the injustices of this terrible society. I call it Dave Goes Canceling. Yes, so today's cancel criminal is not Mel Gibson, too easy, not Tina Fey. She canceled herself by pulling back those 30 Rock episodes with blackface in them. No, our inaugural cancel criminal is that terrible racist, Joni Mitchell. Lest we forget the cover of her mostly crappy album, Don Juan's Reckless Daughter. We'll just show that right there. Featuring a picture of her in a colorful dress, not a colored dress, so that's okay, but also another picture of her dressed up as a pimpy black guy. Let's put that in closer to the camera there. Complete with fuzzy hat, big sunglasses, and bling. Joni Mitchell said at the time that this was her jazzy alter ego, a black hipster that she called Art Nouveau. That is not a tribute, my friends. That is appropriation. And does she dress as Martin Luther King or Rodney King? No, it's a black dude, the kind that you would see sashaying in front of the Port Authority looking for teenage runaways. As if to compound the crime, one of the songs on the album is Dreamland, where she dreams about a weird tropical place a long, long way from Canada. One lyric dreams about, quote, black babies covered in baking flour. Ooh, delicious! Is that what Joni thinks about? The opposite of blackface, where little black babies try to turn white. In front of a cook, by the way, who might be eyeing them as tender morsels. And if that's not enough, later in the song she brings up, quote, Tar Baby and the Great White Wonder. Well, Tar Baby was a story cooked up by none other than Uncle Remus, that song of the South darky. The actual story of the tar baby can be seen as a metaphor for slaves, the bunnies, outwitting the foxes, their masters. But the actual baby made of tar is a racist visual cue, and that plantation owners would cover their walls with tar to keep hungry slaves from stealing their fruit. So if a slave stole an orange, the master would see the tar stuck to the slave's body and whip it right off of him. Tar Baby and the Great White Wonder indeed. And if you're thinking, well, that album was from the 70s, it was at a different time. Don't forget that Mitchell's last original album from 2007 was titled Shine. Sunshine, you say? Inner beauty shine, you say? I say slur for a black shoe shine boy. Joni Mitchell, you hereby stand accused and convicted of racism. We hereby cancel you. Instead of both sides now, you are no sides now. We will not turn you on even if you are a radio. And you may be the color blue, but that doesn't excuse what you have done to black. Only political correctness until we're canceled. This was Dave's Gone Canceling.
These days everybody's getting cancelled. Every day I look at news, there's another new scandal. Another YouTuber who abused a younger fan, or who introduced loot boxes to kids to gamble, whose Ku Klux Klan fan club's just been found fools. Ought to know better, they just brought about their own downfall. So now they're snuffed out of all society like candles, because after all it's important that we make an example. Anybody damaging morality will damn well be the platform. Drag them off the dance floor, kick them out the back door. And if they're asking what you do that for, then tell them, sweetie darling, sweetie, you've been cancelled. You've been cancelled, you've been cancelled, you've been cancelled. Get to the back of the queue. You've been cancelled, you've been cancelled, you've been cancelled. Everybody's laughing at you.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, little song there by, I forget who, I think it was Dan Bull is the fellow who gave us that song. Am I in high dudgeon, the highest possible dudgeon here on Dave's Gone By. Wasn't that fun? I'm going to cancel more people. I'm going to cancel so many people on this show that, the only art out there will be Mr. Rogers Records. And even him. Because, he wore those colored sweaters. I wonder. Appropriation, and those fish, the way he treated them. Who was feeding them when he wasn't on camera? It's stuff to think about, ladies and gentlemen, on this Saturday, June 27th, 2020, where we're doing the 752nd episode of Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, right here in the Daverhood. Are we done with the show? Because we do this 9 to noon-ish. We're in the ish portion of the program. We still have a couple of things to do. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and coming up just directly in a couple of minutes, our Wretched Pun of Destiny. So, I don't cancel for the really offensive, off the line, off the grid, envelope pushing things that I say. I apologize for the terrible jokes that I make. Really, those are the ones I feel really bad about. So here's the deal. We've got both a terrible limerick and a terrible pun to make still in the show. But before we get to that, let's talk about our friends of the Daverhood. Because even though we're in a mode now of my just doing a show that's about our skits and our bits and the comedy and the monologues, we've also had a lot of guests on this program. Very proud. A lot of celebrities, a lot of well-known and very talented people. We kind of like to let you know, hey, this is what they have been up to since they've been on Dave's Gone By, the Friends of the Daverhood. So yes, our friends of the Daverhood have been busy, have been active even in these branch COVIDian times. So we want to send a shout out to our musical and authorial friend Sylvie Simmons, I didn't realize she had had a bad accident about 2 or 3 years ago and spent a long time recovering. But she's recovered to the point where she has a new album out, and it's called Blue on Blue. Speaking of, it's like two Joni Mitchell albums stuck together. Blue on Blue. And you can find it on Compass Records, being released this week. Yay. Also, our friend of the Daverhood, comedian Vicky Cooperman. She has a bit that is part of a compilation album called Love's a Joke that you can get on iTunes and other places where your music and comedy is available. Vicky Cooperman, Bicky, by the way, is how you spell her first name. We were talking with Lonnie Price in the Daverhood now it's a couple of months ago. The director and actor Lonnie Price, well, he directed this show up in Canada. I think it was either Toronto or Ontario, a new musical that may have sites for Broadway. It was called The Louder We Get. They put out a new video from that production. It's called This Dance Is For You, and you can go watch it at thelouderweget.com, which again is directed by Lonnie Price. Andre the Shields, the ubiquitous, well, he was ubiquitous on Broadway as one of the stars of Hadestown. He's marvelous in it and won the Tony Award for it. Hadestown is, of course, on hiatus, but he isn't. He is part of New Federal Theater's Rappin' with the Artists series. You can register for that for free at the website for New Federal Theater. And that, by the way, that is happening, his segment, on June 30th, 3 days from now. Playing now online through July 12th is Edward Einhorn's one-act play, Performance for One. And actually, I talked about this on the air. I took part in this. It was a pop-up theater thing in New York months ago, where you just kind of walk into this room, and an actress sits in front of you, and for about 10 minutes, she does the monologue to you, and you kind of take part in it. They've crafted this so it's doable via Skype, and that's how they're doing it with a couple of different actresses. So it's, again, the play is called Performance for One, and you can find it at UntitledTheater.com. UntitledTheater.com. And remember, it's not just that you're watching the play. It will be a one-on-one with you and the actor on Skype. So go do it. Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano are posting many of their musical duets on their YouTube page. Let's see. Michael Artsis has his company called Be Terrific, which will take your Zoom meetings and really zoom them up to another level. They're going to make it look more professionally, corporately presentational. So check that out. It's BeTerrific.com. Friday nights, Julie Holston is doing her kind of talk variety show called Julie Holston and Guests, and the archives are at YouTube. You can watch them there. PBS is still showing, PBS.org is showing the Gabriel Family Plays and the Apple Family Plays at the Public Theater. They were recorded there, and there's also one that was done specifically for Zoom. All the plays are by Richard Nelson, and they also all co-star our friend J.O. Sanders. Evan Seplow is the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com. Do check that out. It's for New York nightlife, but they also have all these stories about what's going on during COVID times. DrDemento.com is a place to go for years of older Dr. Demento shows and also the ones that he's doing right now. DrDemento.com. SoundsOfBroadway.com is a delightful website, 24/7 of show tunes. And if you get on the list of Stuart Brown's website there, you can also get a weekly quiz, kind of like our Today Yesterday quiz, but specifically for theater geeks. And let me tell you something, I thought it would be a breeze. Like the first week I got 100, second week I got a 90. Now I'm getting 50s and 60s, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm supposed to know this stuff. It's soundsofbroadway.com. And finally, for podcasts about upstate New York history, bobcudmore.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the friends of the Daverhood here on Dave's Gone By. It is Saturday, June 27th, 2020. We have just a bit more to do in this fine, fine episode of the program. Remember that you can write to me, by the way, Dave's Gone By at AOL.com. dave'sgone.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, well, at our Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. You know that because you're on it right now. But you can also leave me messages here all week long and follow my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. Radio Dave, the number 2. So yeah, we have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up. But before then, oh dear, oh no. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to cancel this. It's our wretched pun of destiny. Every week we make a pun that is just unendurable, but we do ask you to endure it. It's a tiny, tiny little short story that is capped by a play on words so egregious that, I mean, you know, Jeffrey Epstein paid his penalty to society. Bill Cosby is paying his. You know, former Nazi criminals paid their debt to society. I will one day pay mine for reading things like this. The wretched pun of destiny. The days gone by, wretched pun of destiny. On his seaside estate in England, former Beatle George Harrison decides to take up farming. He buys a bevy of chickens, pigs, sheep, and cows. One night, a tornado hits the town, and all the animals are swept up into the water, including Harrison's favorite cow, Dumpling. After the storm passes, Harrison sits for hours at the shoreline, hoping for any sign that Dumpling survived. At dawn, just when he gives up hope, a hoof rises out of the choppy waters, then a pair of horns and a muzzle, and the sound of plaintive mooing as the Beatles' beloved cow bobs up and down in the sea. Overjoyed, Harrison jumps on his phone to call his family. "Hurry, bring ropes and a wagon." His wife, still half asleep, says, "What on earth for?" Harrison replies, "Dumpling in the waves, she moves." We here at Dave's Gone By apologize for bringing you the wretched pun of destiny. Yeah. I said, oh my God, we still have people watching. We didn't have people smashing their computers with a hammer after our wretched pun of destiny. I don't know why. I admire your fortitude. I admire your courage. Let's test you even further, because to end the show, as we must every week, we're going to have a little poem. Now, I've been doing these, as I said, my wife and I were living in northern Colorado for a bunch of years, and it got into my head, don't know why, to start writing a little poem for every possible town and city and municipality and county in Colorado that I could think of. And I wrote a couple of them. First there was going to be one or two, and then a couple, and then like potato chips. I just literally couldn't stop. So now I've got more than 100 of them, and we do them once a week. They're evil, they're terrible. Let's see, how bad is this one? How would I rate this one? This one, R to NC 17 is the rating on this. Not that it's so terrible in language, but if the child asks you to explain why this is sick and terrible and trying to be funny, you don't want to have to explain this. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Colorado Limerick of the Dam of this week goes to Prowers, Colorado. Another place I never heard of until I started doing these. Prowers, Colorado. Our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Rocky Mountain,
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We go to Prowers, Colorado for this week's poem. Prowers is actually a county in Colorado. It's about 1,600 square miles in southeastern Colorado. It's part of the greater area called Lamar, named after a pioneer named John W. Prowers. It has become something of an agricultural hub, especially for sugar beets, so that kind of like Greeley, where we were living. It served as a World War II internment camp. I love how these things kind of follow along their natural progression in the show. And earlier in the program, we talked about the Japanese and their depiction in cartoons during World War II. And then 3 hours later, totally unconnected, and here we are again with the Japanese in World War II, where they were kept in Prowers, Colorado back in the day. The problem with it being and remaining an agricultural hub is it's also subject to a lot of floods. But it's still known for having ag there as well as health industries. And now it will be known as the subject for this week's Colorado Limerick of the Damned, Prowers, Colorado. I'll never forget the 4 hours I spent in the county of Prowers. I hired 3 whores to pull down their drawers and drench me with warm golden showers. Yes, that's our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, ladies and gentlemen, for this Saturday, June 27th, 2020. Kindly send your comments and complaints to davesgoneby@aol.com, davesgoneby@aol.com. You're also welcome to send me a postcard, but I'm not going to give my address out on the air, so it's like Santa Claus. The mailman will have to find me some other way. But feel free, or you can message me right here on our Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. Either way, I do love to hear from you. I love your suggestions, your comments, your complaints as well. Anything you want to tell me all week long. davesgoneby@aol.com, or post it right here on the Facebook page. Follow me on Twitter. Radio Dave 2 is the way to do that. And of course, find the archives at davesgoneby.com. And by the way, I should press this more and push this more. One of the things that the 3 months of indolence that I had during the initial stages of the COVID pandemic, thank God I was healthy, so I was just home and able to do, on some level, in my free time, what I wanted, of taking more and more of my stuff, and from years past, theater reviews that were published in magazines that do not exist anymore, and old plays and short screenplays of mine. And it's a very slow process, but retyping them, putting them up on my website. So if you're curious about me and you're sick of hearing my voice, but you want to know more of what I do, and you want to know what I thought about shows that I was reviewing back in the 1990s, if you want to read screenplays that I wrote in college, go to davelefkowitz.org. Dave Lefkowitz, Lefkowitz, davelefkowitz.org. I would love people. You can even, I think, leave comments there as well. It's a WordPress site. But I'm trying to put up more and more in my less and less copious free time. But yeah, and I love the idea that not so much for the ego trip for me. It's like, oh, I'm getting my work out there, and more people reading me, and my opinion and my stuff. That's what this show is for. But I also like the idea that if you go looking for an off-Broadway show from 1993, right, or 1989, you go on the internet, there might be the New York Times review in its archive, which you might have to pay for, you might not. But there's the Times review, and that's it. Maybe some promotional information about the show, but you don't get reviews because you have to go on microfiche to find the New York Post or the Daily News Review or the Wall Street Journal, or as I said, all these other magazines are gone, right? So you have to go into a library's archives or the Library of Congress. I like the idea that there's these shows, man, and the other review voice other than the New York Times is going to be mine, because I'm putting these reviews back up there. And if you Google the name of the show and my name, you'll find a review. I think that's kind of cool. I think so anyway. But again, it's all at davelefkowitz.org. Do check that out. And let's see, is there anything else I have to say? Yes, I do have to say, most happy and healthy upcoming birthday in a couple of days, 2 days only, actually, to my mother, to Brenda Lefkowitz, who does not like to be on camera, does not like to be recorded. I think in the entire 18-year history of this program, she's said about 6 lines on the show. When I just briefly interview her on her birthday or on Mother's Day, and I play a little bit of the tape on the show. Oh well. But very, very happy birthday to her. It's been a very difficult time for her and for all of us. I hope that she's looking forward to venturing out a little further from the house and maybe going shopping again in a couple of weeks. I don't know. But, been trying to support her the best way we can, mostly by, mostly by making a mess in the room that we're living in, mostly by, putting in a new router that suddenly has junked her old computer, and now we don't know what to do with it, and we're trying to save her files. Oh, it's been such a joy living with my folks. Just, sorry, Mom. So the thing that a son says year after year for the rest of his life, sorry, Mom, but I love you, Mom, and happy birthday to you indeed. And those of you who are having good days and birthdays, I try and leave birthday messages on Facebook. Sometimes I just don't have the time, but I certainly wish you good health, good weeks, no COVID, no leprosy as well. Nobody talks about leprosy, but we don't want you getting leprosy either, let alone COVID. Feel good. Enjoy the summer. Have a fine weekend. We expect to be back. The next Saturday will be July 4th. 4th of July. And where the hell else I'm going to be? I expect to be on here doing my show. Dave's Gone By. Next Saturday, July 4th from 9 until noon or thereabouts. Until then, have a fine week. Try not to get canceled. Much more fun to go and cancel other people, as you've seen. And gone by.
Days gone by, days gone by, days gone by.
Oh no, I'm canceled. But just for the next 7 days. I'll see you soon.